I, Hermione, travel through time to Marvel to be the savior. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 526. Now Hermione secretly learns burning decision. After completing the task of signing in and punching in, now Hermione did not continue to follow. For Yen, successfully breaking through to the level of a fighter might be a very happy thing. It's exciting. But for Hermione, fighters are really weak. However, as friends, Yen should still congratulate him. The system did not prompt that there would be new tasks next, so it was late at night, and Hermione went back to sleep. She yawned acutely. Although as a god, she didn't need to sleep, but there was no need to abandon the habit of going to bed and getting up early. The next day, it was just dawn. Mai came to Hermione to share her new food. Hermione naturally gave Mai face, tasted it, commented on it, and gave Mai a bag of ice cream. The latter happily went back to improve her food. Hermione jumped to the roof, looked at the scorching sun in the morning, and stretched comfortably. Last night, she read a little bit of the second-grade pill encyclopedia. As expected, the pill formula in it was profound. It would probably take a long time for Hermione to fully understand it. Just like the 8 trigram sword she obtained last time, it also requires a lot of practice to show the supreme mystery of swordsmanship. Swordsmanship is really the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. In the morning, the first system pop-up task appeared. Option 1, go shopping with Alexander, and show her what a spirited little sister is. Complete the task and you will be rewarded with the exclusive attribute, Spirit, +1. Option 2, go see Yen in the back mountain, and secretly learn the burning decision. Complete the task and you will be rewarded with the basic attribute +1. Option 3, practice swordsmanship by yourself, and complete the task and you will be rewarded with the exclusive attribute, swordsmanship, +1. If there was no option 2, Hermione would probably do the option 3 task. After all, practicing swordsmanship will make you stronger, and after completing the task, your swordsmanship attribute can be increased by 1 point, which is indeed worth doing. But it is also obvious that option 2 has a higher value of benefit. The burning decree technique may seem simple, but in fact it is related to whether one can successfully subdue the strange fire in the future. The strange fire is the only treasure that Hermione in Key Continent has set her eyes on, so she naturally cannot miss it. So after comparing, it is natural to choose the most valuable one. As for option 1, the spirited little sister, is that funny? Hermione is obviously a lady, a goddess, and has nothing to do with the spirited little sister. After Yen took the chi gathering powder, the fighting chi vortex in his body gathered crazily. As a martial arts fanatic, his breakthrough to the fighter was faster than in the original drama. Teacher, I successfully broke through to the fighter. Yen felt that his strength was half of what it was before, and he said excitedly, so, this is the fighter. Yao Lao was also very relieved and said, becoming a fighter is also a real step into the threshold of a cultivator. Next, you can officially practice the technique. Yao Lao mentioned the burning decree to Yen before. The burning decree is a very low level in the early stage, but as more and more strange fires are swallowed, the level of its technique will become stronger and stronger. But the strange fire is the most domineering thing in Key Continent. Ordinary people would be burned to nothingness if they approached, not to mention swallowing it, which was extremely difficult. But if it succeeded, its power would not be comparable to that of ordinary cultivators. Therefore, Yao Lao also asked Yen to think it over. Practicing the burning technique is not easy at all. Yen thought for a while and finally decided to practice the burning technique. He believed that Yao Lao would not lie to him. The mystery of this technique is definitely worth Yen's lifelong risk. Moreover, the 3-year agreement between him and Lin Qingyun is about to expire. Yen must become stronger to have a chance to avenge his previous shame. If he was still the most useless young master of the Zhao family and could not see a glimmer of hope, then he naturally did not need to work so hard at this moment, because desperate people do not need to work hard. But since Yao Lao appeared, Diane returned to the peak, and the dawn of hope illuminated his future path. So Diane must work hard. The burning technique was only at the low level of the yellow rank in the early stage, and even Diane quickly learned it. Next, he needs to swallow the strange fire to improve the technique. At the same time Diane learned it, Hermione, who was hiding and observing and learning secretly, also learned it smoothly. The mystery of burning dew is not difficult to learn, but it is difficult because it needs to constantly devour the strange fire to improve. Compared with Diane's excitement, Hermione is also very happy. After traveling through the key continent for more than a year, he finally learned a technique that he is interested in. If it were not for a smoother future, Hermione would like to go find the strange fire right now. Congratulations on completing the Option 2 task. Reward basic attribute +1. Seeing Diane's success, Yao Lao planned the future for him. The original drama also talked about Zhao Xun'er's identity and background, because in the original drama, Diane was with Zhao Xun'er except for cultivation. Yao Lao would naturally use Zhao Xun'er to inspire Diane's greater potential. However, here, Zhao Xun'er spent most of her time with Hermione, and the time she spent with Diane was not even 1/10 of the time she spent with Hermione. Therefore, Yao Lao naturally did not need to mention Zhao Xun'er, but mentioned a very awesome strange fire, Fallen Heart Flame, which ranks 14th on the strange fire list. The location of this strange fire is in Canaan College, which means that if Diane wants to get this strange fire, he must go to Canaan College. In order to improve his strength, Diane wanted to leave immediately. Yao Lao asked him to be patient. First of all, the Fallen Heart Flame must be very hidden in Canaan College. Even if Diane can find it, he can't absorb it with his current cultivation and preparation. The road must be taken step by step, and the meal must be eaten bite by bite. Remember, don't rush. Diane suppressed his inner restlessness and asked for advice humbly. Yao Lao explained a lot of things to Diane. Diane is naturally not as good as the goddess Hermione. In order to improve his strength, he spends most of his time practicing to become stronger, and Diane doesn't know Yao Lao's best alchemist skills at present. It's not that Diane doesn't want to learn, but mainly because he doesn't have time to learn. Although Diane's talent level is already a genius in the Qi continent, it is naturally not worth mentioning compared to Hermione, who is using cheats and is constantly accumulating. When Diane came back, he met Zhao Xun'er. The Qi was exposed, and Zhao Xun'er soon discovered that Diane's Qi was different. Zhao Xun'er exclaimed, "Brother Diane, have you been promoted to Ds?" Diane smiled proudly. "Well, I just broke through today. I am now one step closer to your cultivation level, Xun'er." Zhao Xun'er sighed. With Brother Diane's current cultivation speed, it is only a matter of time before he surpasses me. Leaving Zhao Xun'er, Diane went to find his father, the clan leader Zhao Zhan. Diane is not a person who likes to show off everywhere, but being able to break through that cultivation level is also a very happy thing. I should share it with my father. To Diane's surprise, when he came to the lobby, he saw that the elders and clan leaders inside were frowning, and seemed to be arguing about something. There were some clan members watching the excitement, including Zhao Mai, who had nothing to do. She ate the ice cream Zhao Hermione gave her, envying the tribe members she had never met. Of course, everyone else was eavesdropping on the major events happening in the tribe, and they were not in the mood to pay attention to Zhao Mai. Chapter 527 Diane's performance moment. Because of Zhao Hermione, the relationship between Diane and Zhao Mai and the Zhao family is not as awkward as in the original drama. In the lobby, the patriarch Zhan and the elders were arguing fiercely, and Diane couldn't go up to disturb them. So Diane put aside his grudges and came to Zhao Mai's side, looking at her rosy little mouth with ice cream, which looked quite tempting. Following Zhao Hermione to beg for food every day, Zhao Mai's figure has developed towards the beauty of the Temir auction house, and she will be a charming little goblin in the future. Zhao Mai didn't care too much when she saw Diane looking at her a few more times. In the family, the boys with strong blood looked at her in the same way. After all, if they looked at Zhao Xun'er with such eyes, it would be blasphemy. But admiring Zhao Mai became a matter of course. As for Zhao Hermione, she was too low-key and had a strong magnetic field around her. Outsiders couldn't get too close to her, and even ignored her subconsciously. Zhao Mai, What happened in the clan, do you know? Zhao Mai did not hide it and said to Yan, I heard that the Jiali clan invited a first-class alchemist to refine a healing medicine called rejuvenation powder every day. It is now very popular in the market. So, the clan leader and elders are probably worried about this matter. Zhao Mai is very good at eavesdropping on gossip. In the original drama, it was Zhao Xuner who told Yan, because the relationship between Yan and Zhao Mai was still very distant in the original drama. Here, Zhao Xuner was with Hermione every day, becoming elegant, and she didn't pay much attention to the gossip. Zhao Mai had nothing to do, but heard more than Zhao Xuner. Zhao Xuner might know something, but she would not say anything without sending someone to verify the correctness of the information. Zhao Mai did not have this concern. First-class alchemist? Yan frowned. It was not that he looked down on first-class alchemists, but mainly because his teacher Yao Lao was too strong. It was just that I didn't expect that in Mutant City, just a first-class alchemist could make the entire family anxious. Seeing that Yan seemed to be thinking, Zhao Mai didn't say much. She finished the ice cream in her hand, wiped her mouth, and planned to go to play with Hermione. Yan certainly had to think carefully. He originally planned to wait for 2 months, and after participating in the enrollment registration of Canaan College, he would leave Mutant City. Unexpectedly, at this critical juncture, the Zhao family would face such a crisis. If it was a year ago, Yan might be helpless. After all, at that time, he himself was a well-known waste. Now it is different. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Teacher. Yan just called Yao Lao. Yao Lao immediately understood what Yan was thinking, and replied, I know, from today on, you will learn the skills of an alchemist. According to Yao Lao's plan, Yan immediately put on a black robe and came to the Temir auction house in hiding. It is undoubtedly a waste of time to learn the medicinal materials and medicine cauldrons needed by alchemists in a short period of time. At this time, the role of the Temir auction house was perfectly reflected. The investment required to train a qualified alchemist is very expensive, and Yan's savings are not enough. However, Yan's teacher Yao Lao agreed to refine a chi-gathering powder as a reward. Yuf and Gunyip Razor were stunned, and then their joy was overflowing. In Mutant City, chi-gathering powder is a high-level elixir. The next day, Yan came to the Temir auction house, and the two sides reached a perfect deal. Yan also began his journey of practicing as an alchemist. Hermione was not idle either, and she and Zhao Xuner were walking around the market. Today was not a day of sightseeing, so Zhao Mai was not brought here. Zhao Xuner was very anxious when she saw that the Jiali family's rejuvenation powder had occupied a large market. Hermione was also analyzing that the Zhao family's industry was naturally not just selling medicine, but that after the Jiali family gathered a lot of money, they could acquire more markets. The business model looks rough, but this is the world of fighting spirit, and it doesn't need to be so complicated. However, we have to admit that it is a miracle that the Zhao family can become one of the 3 major families in Mutant City in such a fragile market. Of course, if Hermione takes action, there will be no problem at all, but there is no need. If Hermione solves all the troubles, Yan will have nothing to do. Zhao Xuner seemed to have her own plans, and Hermione comforted her. Don't worry, the Zhao family will definitely pass this hurdle smoothly. Zhao Xuner also nodded seriously. Hermione certainly knew that Yan practiced alchemy day and night, and he also went to Punch-In and Sign-In several times, until Yan learned something and successfully refined the blood coagulation powder taught by Yao Lao, a medicine that is even more powerful than the rejuvenation powder of the Jiali family. Hermione suddenly ran over. Yan, why haven't I seen you recently? Yan pretended to be practicing hard and said, I just broke through to the level of a fighter recently, and I have been consolidating my practice these days. Hermione suddenly realized, I see, but something big happened in the clan recently, did you know? Yan was afraid that Hermione would know his identity as an alchemist, so he shook his head and pretended not to know. Hermione laughed secretly. This Yan practiced every day, and it was not like he was lying. But Hermione did not expose him and said, then you must pay attention to your father Zhan. He has been busy with this matter recently. At the same time, Hermione turned around and pretended to sigh. It would be great if an alchemist could be born in our Zhao family at this time. Yan saw Hermione's charming figure, exquisite profile, and crystal-like eyes with expectation. She was a very charming beautiful girl. Diane was very touched. Alchemist, Diane sighed, although my level is not very high, it should be enough. Congratulations on completing the task, rewarded with exclusive attribute, performance, +1. That's right, Hermione said those things to Diane just for the sake of acting. Although the task reward was not what Hermione wanted, the rewards for other tasks were even worse. Not every optional task will reward good things. Sometimes the small optional tasks are also very deductible, such as cotton swabs, tissues, garbage bags, etc. Perhaps deeply influenced by Hermione's words, Diane immediately put on the familiar black robe, covered his face, and let Yao Lao possess him, entered the Zhao family and began to perform. Last time at the Temur auction house, Diane greeted Zhao Zhan as a foundation-building spirit liquid alchemist and praised him. This time, he even went to visit him directly. After the entire Zhao family learned about it, they all attached great importance to it. The clan leader and elders met him in person. Zhao Hemin, Zhao Xuner, Zhao Mai, and the children of the Zhao family were all standing outside and watching curiously. I heard that this is the mysterious alchemist who provides foundation-building spirit liquid at the Temur auction house. He is very powerful. Zhao Mai looked like she knew everything. Zhao Xuner said, I hope he can bring good news to the Zhao family. Zhao Herman said, no one comes to visit without a reason. Since the other party came in person, he must have a purpose. 3 women were talking about the purpose of the mysterious alchemist, Diane, coming to the Zhao family. Clan leader Zhao Zhan was very excited. This was really what he needed. The Zhao family invited a first-class alchemist, which almost bankrupted the Zhao family. Now the Zhao family is looking forward to an alchemist who can save them. Chapter 528 Talent. Zhao Herman. Diane is also experienced in acting, but of course, compared to professional Oscar-winning actress Zhao Herman, he is still a little behind. Moreover, Diane's face is covered, and Yao Lao speaks for him. He is just a body. Unlike Herman, who has been acting as an ordinary female disciple in the Zhao family for more than a year with the body of the savior, she has not aroused many people's suspicion. Diane disguised himself as a mysterious alchemist and talked about cooperation with the Zhao Zhan clan leader. He took out 1,283 bottles of blood coagulation powder at random. These were made by Diane day and night, and they were all Diane's hard work. Sure enough, the Zhao Zhan clan leader and the Zhao family elders beside him were stunned. What are these? Yao Lao explained on behalf of Diane. The Zhao family members who had never seen the world were even more surprised, and the Zhao Zhan clan leader was so excited that his fingers were shaking. It's a long drought and a good rain. Master, why are you willing to help the Zhao family when they are suffering? This question is not only curious to the Zhao Zhan clan leader, but also to the elders of the Zhao family. Yao Lao replied through Yan's body, all this has to do with my encounter with Yan. As for the details, I won't say much. You can guess for yourself. There are reasons for everything. I naturally didn't come to the Zhao family to help for no reason. Yan? Was it because of Yan? The whole Zhao family was shocked. Such a mysterious alchemist actually met Yan by chance. Could it be that this master took a fancy to Yan's physique and planned to take Yan as his apprentice? Oh my god! Qiao Zhan was so happy that every cell on his body was trembling. However, the little villain Zhao Ning, who had recovered his body, felt very uncomfortable. The former waste has not only become a genius again, but also met such a mysterious alchemist by chance and formed an opportunity. Envious eyes are red. And Zhao Ning's sister, the beautiful Zhao. At this moment, she looked sharply at Zhao Hemin, one of the 3 beauties not far away. Since her brother Zhao Ning and Zhao Yan had a grudge, Zhao Hemin stopped Zhao Yu from seeking revenge on Zhao Yan. Could it be that Zhao Hemin saw Zhao Yan's unlimited potential early on, and didn't want Zhao Yu and Zhao Yan to have too much resentment, so she took action in advance to stop her? But how could that Zhao Hemin guess that Zhao Yan is so powerful now? By the way, that Zhao Hemin herself is unfathomable. Clan leader Zhao Zhan said excitedly, so, I should thank my good son Zhao Yan. Zhao Yan sat opposite, covered by a black robe, otherwise you can see his face blushing. This Yao Lao really took the opportunity to praise him. Yao Lao helped Jian to be glorious in the Zhao family this time. Zhao Zhan and the elders wanted to keep this mysterious alchemist in the Zhao family. Yao Lao would of course not agree. After all, Yao Lao has been living in the Zhao family, so why should he be invited? If he continues to stay in the Zhao family as a mysterious alchemist, it will inevitably be exposed after a long time. It is best to come and go without a trace, mysterious and unpredictable. The mysterious alchemist left, leaving behind more than 1,000 bottles of blood coagulation powder, and the pressure on the Zhao family was instantly reduced by more than half. The next step is to seize the market with this patch of healing medicine. Zhao Hemin, together with Alexander and Zhao Mai, seemed not to participate much, but in fact, she was on the scene to complete the task. Among the three options, she naturally chose the simplest one. However, the tasks are infinite. The new tasks are not so simple. On Jian's side, he left the Zhao family, found a deserted place, quickly put away the black robe, and then restored his identity as Jian. He did not go through the main gate. He was cautious and chose to climb over the wall to return to the Zhao family. In this way, the suspicion of outsiders was minimized. However, Jian was shocked just after he jumped over the wall. He saw the exotic beautiful girl Zhao Hemin on the side, looking at him with a smile. Jian, why don't you go through the main gate? Why do you climb over the wall? Jian's heart was pounding, and he was so guilty that he didn't even dare to look at Zhao Hemin's beautiful big eyes. Jian thought that no one knew his secret, but he didn't know that all of Jian's performances were under Zhao Hemin's eyes. It was hard for Zhao Hemin not to pay attention. After all, Jian was an important NPC in most of her tasks, but Jian himself didn't know it. Jian was smart. I just saw a cat stuck in a tree and couldn't get down, so I climbed over the wall to save the cat. Jian's lie was very unnatural. Of course he himself was not very clear about this. Zhao Hemin suppressed her laughter and said, so that's how it is. Jian, you really are kind-hearted. Jian said awkwardly, it's just a piece of cake, just a piece of cake. Zhao Hemin stopped talking nonsense and started to complete the task options, saying, by the way, a mysterious alchemist came to our Zhao family just now, did you know? Zhao Hemin was so beautiful, her big crystal eyes seemed to glow. Jian felt guilty and naturally did not dare to look Zhao Hemin in the eye. He turned his head and said, I only know that the Zhao family was very lively just now. I don't know who came. Zhao Hemin did not beat around the bush and said to Jian directly, you should have seen that mysterious alchemist. He is the alchemist who refined the Foundation establishment spirit liquid at the Temra auction house. Because of you, he is willing to come to the Zhao family to help. Zhao Hemin said with a smile, Jian, you don't know, at that time, the mysterious alchemist took out more than 1,000 blood-clotting powder at once, and I was stunned. Zhao Hemin's acting skills were at the atmospheric level, which Jian could not compare to at all. He said awkwardly, is that so? That's great. Zhao Hemin continued, Jian, have you really never seen that mysterious alchemist? Jian didn't know how to answer. After all, Zhao Hemin was a time traveler like him, and she was also a strange woman. Yao Lao said that Zhao Hemin was hard to see through. If he lied, it probably wouldn't work, but if he told the truth, Jian couldn't say it. He couldn't admit to Zhao Hemin, yes, the mysterious alchemist that everyone was surrounding in the Zhao family lobby just now was me. Zhao Yan, it seems I've met him once, but I'm not sure that person is the mysterious alchemist. Jian answered in a compromise. Zhao Hemin smiled secretly. In fact, this time more than 1,000 bottles of blood coagulation powder can indeed solve the problems currently faced by the Zhao family. However, it is only a temporary solution. If the Zhao family cannot be eliminated from the root, it will probably be of no help. Zhao Hemin analyzed, if the Zhao family and the Zhao family continue to compete viciously, both will suffer in the end, and it will benefit other families. Jian heard what Zhao Hemin meant, and he asked with an idea. Then, Zhao Hemin, do you have any good suggestions? Zhao Hemin said mischievously, at present, it is a competition between the two families in the business world. I won't talk about methods that are too cruel and bloody, and they are not easy to operate. However, Mutant City is a small city, and the low-end medicinal materials in the internal supply chain should be limited. If we can think of a way to directly cut off the supply of medicinal materials to the Jiley family, then, due to the lack of medicinal materials, the Jiley family's rejuvenation powder will definitely not be refined. Yes. Diane clapped his hands. Great. Hermione, your method is so fast. Hermione felt amused, but her pretty face showed the sorrow of superb acting skills. It's a pity that there is a method, but it is extremely difficult to implement. Congratulations on completing the option task. Reward basic attribute +1. Seeing that the system prompted Diane to complete the next action task successfully, Hermione stopped acting and said directly, I have something else to do, so I'm leaving first. Diane, if you have the opportunity to meet the mysterious alchemist, you must talk to him. Chapter 529. Yao Lao is worried. After Hermione left, Diane thought for a long time in silence, and then he used his mind to discuss with Yao Lao in the ring. Hermione's suggestion is indeed very reasonable. Yao Lao was silent, not thinking about Hermione's proposal, but thinking. This Hermione suddenly appeared here, and deliberately said those words. Is it really a coincidence? In Yao Lao's eyes, Hermione, this strange woman, is as terrifying as ever. For example, Hermione knows the existence of Yao Lao, then, Diane disguised as a mysterious alchemist in the Zhao family. Doesn't it mean that she has always known? So, what she said just now was said to Diane and Yao Lao. Even Yao Lao suspected that Hermione could still see through Diane's movements, so her appearance here was not a coincidence at all, but she was waiting for Diane to come back here. Too scary. The more Yao Lao thought about it, the more he felt that Hermione was not simple. Teacher, what are you thinking about? Diane asked curiously when he saw Yao Lao not speaking. Yao Lao coughed and could only say, nothing. What Hermione said just now is indeed somewhat reasonable. In order to let you have no worries, the threat of the Jiley family must be properly resolved. Although Yao Lao thought about it carefully, he felt that this route was designed by Hermione for them. However, there was no better way. Diane realized that Yao Lao was worried, and it was probably related to Hermione. Just like the mobile phone operating system, Diane could only feel whether it was smooth or not, but Yao Lao was at the engineer level, and he could see the quality of the source code. Diane continued to disguise himself as a mysterious alchemist and went to find Yuf at the Temir auction house. As for Hermione, she had just made it clear to Diane that she met Alexander by chance at the corner of the road. This time it was a real chance encounter. Alexander was also going to find Diane, and then she saw the scene that Hermione performed to Diane just now. At this moment, Alexander said, Hermione, you can actually think of the medicinal materials supplied by the Jiley family. You are so smart. Hermione came over and held Alexander's hand and said, this is not considered smart. When two armies are fighting, it is the most common military strategy to cut off their food supplies first. Hermione explained this, and Alexander understood. Alexander still sighed. Hermione, you are still a knowledgeable person. Hermione pinched Alexander's little nose and said, I just found out, my biggest hobby is learning. Diane came to the Temir auction house, because he appeared as a mysterious alchemist. Yif, a great beauty that ordinary men could not see, came out to meet him in person. Diane did not say nonsense and said frankly that in this competition between the Jiley family and the Zhao family, he stood on the Zhao family's side and hoped that the Temir auction house would also help the Zhao family, and even cut off the supply of medicinal materials to the Jiley family. The competition between the Zhao family and the Jiley family. Of course, the Temir auction house did not want to participate, especially standing on the side that offended the other party. However, Yao Lao controlled Diane's body and directly ordered to refine 5 qi gathering powders for Temir auction house. Yif was stunned at that time. What a big deal. When Lin Yanren, the young master of Yunlin sect, came to the Zhao family to break off the engagement, she brought a qi gathering powder. And now, Yao Lao promised to give Temir auction house 5. What does this mean? At the same time, does Temir auction house really want to offend the alchemist who can refine 5 qi gathering powders for the sake of the Jiley family? Yao Lao has already made it clear that he stands on the side of the Zhao family, Let Temur Auction House stop supplying medicinal materials to the Jiley family. If Temur Auction House refuses, wouldn't it be offending such a mysterious alchemist? Can't offend. Ye finally agreed bitterly. Diane and Yao Lao left with satisfaction. The Zhao family is going to fight back. Now Herman and Zhao Xuner came to the market together to observe the market conditions. Zhao Xuner pointed at the Jiley family's pharmacy and said bluntly, "The Jiley family is crazy about money. The price of rejuvenation powder has also increased. From the original 100 gold coins per box, it has now increased to 300 gold coins per box. Do you really think that you can make money so unscrupulously by monopolizing the market? In a small place like Yun City, first-class alchemists are rare. The appearance of rejuvenation powder is indeed difficult to rival. But now the Zhao family also has blood coagulation powder. The Jiley family should cry." Now Hermione said to Zhao Xuner, "Don't worry, they won't be proud for long." Sure enough, a new sign was hung in the Zhao family's pharmacy. And there was also a live performance invited by the Zhao family. Cut your arm with a big knife. Blood is flowing, but pour the blood coagulation powder on the wound, and a magical scene appears. The wound heals at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the treatment effect is much better than the Jiley family's rejuvenation powder. The mercenaries watching were stunned. "How much is this medicine?" The owner of the medicine shop looked at the price of the Jiley family across the street and smiled directly. "Our Zhao family medicine shop is not a profiteer who eats people without leaving bones. Our price is half of that of the other side, 150 gold coins. There is no harm without comparison. The effect is better and the price is lower." The Zhao family's medicine shop became popular all of a sudden. People who were originally queuing up to buy at the Jiley family quickly went to the Zhao family. Now Herman smiled at Zhao Xuner and said, "It seems that the Jiley family is not far from bankruptcy. Let's go back." The crisis of the Zhao family was finally alleviated, and Zhao Xuner was finally able to relax a little and went back with Herman. The reason why the healing medicine is easy to sell is that it is a must-have medicine for every adventurer. Yun City is close to the Warcraft Mountains. There are many mercenaries and adventurers who come to explore the Warcraft Mountains every day. Where there is demand, there is a market. After Zhao Xuner and Zhao Herman came back, she was in a good mood. Seeing that alchemists can revitalize a family, Zhao Xuner also wanted to become an alchemist, but unfortunately her physique was not suitable. The threshold for becoming an alchemist is higher than that for becoming a chi practitioner. Even Zhao Xuner cannot go against the will of heaven. However, for an all-round genius like Herman, there is no such trouble. She had just returned to the Zhao family when a new system option task appeared. The task location was in the Jiley family. To be honest, Herman had not been to that villain family yet. For the option task, she had to go there today. At this moment, the Jiley family was also in chaos, because the blood coagulation powder that appeared in the Zhao family caught the Jiley family off guard, especially the pricing of the Zhao family. It was obviously to compete viciously with the Jiley family. If it was a healthy competition, everyone would make money together, and the pricing would naturally be similar. Vicious competition is different. It's either you die or I live. In the end, there can only be one company in the market. I came to the Jiley family to see the chaos in their family. By the way, I can find out the bottom. Jiley B is the patriarch, Jiley Al is his son. And there is another one named Liu Zai, who is the first-class alchemist who refined the rejuvenation powder. The name of rejuvenation powder sounds a bit vulgar, as expected. The pharmacist Liu Zai who named the healing medicine this way is not a good guy. He is in cahoots with the Galio family and does things that are not human. Although Herman only came here to sign in, it was not in vain. She cast a magic spell to make Liu Zai and Galio, two bad guys, infected with strange diseases at the same time. Chapter 530 Zhao Herman's Curse. It can't be said to be a strange disease, but a curse. Even at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Miss Hermione Granger rarely used curses. Maybe she was worried that she would be easily detected by advanced magicians when she cast a curse. So she usually used simple tricks, which were not easy to be discovered. In the Key continent, Hermione did not have this worry. As time went by, Her magic became more and more powerful. In the Qi continent, no one could recognize her magic, especially the curse. As the curse was cast on Galio and Liu Zai, screams of the two were heard in the room. They could no longer harm girls. Even if they had a little evil thought in their hearts, their whole body felt as uncomfortable as if they were stabbed by needles. Liu Zai had no choice but to give up harming girls and turn to make medicine. Galio ran to tell his father, the head of the Galab. At this moment, Galab was very angry, because in the market, the Zhao family's blood coagulation powder had robbed them of more than half of the market. How could this be? As time goes by, the entire healing medicine market will be monopolized by the Zhao family. At this time, his son, Galio, who was a playboy, came to his father with a sad face. He told him about the strange disease in his body. Because they did not know how to curse, they thought they had some strange disease. Galio was so disappointed that he wanted to slap this useless son to death. I have told you so many times not to mess with that Liu Zai. Now, you haven't passed on the family line yet, but your body is not doing well, Galio said with a sad face. Liu Zai is the same. Father, you must find a way to heal my body. People who practice fighting spirit are generally strong and will not get strange diseases. Chief Galio planned to use his strong cultivation to help his son heal his wounds. As for Liu Zai, he didn't need to worry about him for the time being. He didn't have time to harm the girl, but he could spend all his time on refining pills. However, the strong fighting spirit entered Galio's body and roamed around, but he didn't feel anything abnormal. Strange. Invite a famous doctor next. The Zhao family not only had to face the vicious competition from the Zhao family, but also had to solve the physical problems of their sons Jialao and Liu Zai. However, after a few days, no matter how many famous doctors came, they could not diagnose and treat them. After taking the pulse, they all shook their heads. And under the influence of the curse, Liu Zai and Jialao's bodies were getting thinner and thinner, and they were about to die. Jialibi had no choice but to post a large sum of money to invite a famous doctor to treat his son, from 200,000 gold coins to 500,000, and even 1 million gold coins. But all the famous doctors in Newton City went there, but they were also helpless. Instead, because of taking medicine and treatment indiscriminately, he became terminally ill. Now Hermione laughed secretly. It would be too easy for them to kill the two bastards directly, and it would be more interesting to torture them in this way. However, they couldn't let them die like this. The curse was cast by Zhao Hemin, and no one knew it. That day, Zhao Hemin also learned from Zhayan, put on a black robe, pretended to be a hermit, and went to the Zhao family to unveil the list. I want this 1 million gold coins. Chief Jiaobai has been very haggard recently. I don't know what happened to the Tem auction house. It stopped supplying the Jiao family, especially that woman Yefei. Damn it. One day, Jiaobai will definitely take revenge on that woman Yefei. Jialio and Liu Zai are not good people. The same is true for Chief Jiaobai. They are all bad guys. However, at present, when the Jiao family is fighting the Zhao family to death, he has no time to take revenge on their betrayal of Tem auction house. If he goes to deal with Tem auction house at this time, it will be completely over. Now he can only endure it. It just so happens that these two useless dogs, Jialio and Liu Zai, are like adding fuel to the fire, which makes Chief Jiaobai even more worried. Chief, another famous doctor has been announced today. This Chief Jiaobai was excited at first, but then he became disappointed. During this period, too many charlatans pretended to be famous doctors. Not only did they fail to cure his son, but they were poisoned by drugs and are now almost dead. Jiaobai was so angry that he broke the legs of all those charlatans and threw them out. Will it be fake this time too? However, even if there is only a tiny hope, we cannot give up. Hurry up and invite you. In the lobby of the Jiao family, Now Hermione was mysterious, with a strong fighting spirit all over her body. She was obviously a master, completely different from an ordinary charlatan. Jiaobai knew at a glance that the other party was not simple, and immediately stepped forward respectfully. "Hello, master, may I ask your name?" Now Hermione turned into a famous doctor and said in an old voice, Stop talking nonsense. I am traveling here and I just need some money. Now take me to see the sick young master. The chief of the Jilbai tribe felt the powerful temperament that Hermione deliberately released, and did not dare to neglect it. He quickly bowed and said, "Master, please come this way. Please come this way." Hermione laughed in his heart. No wonder Yen likes this way of pretending. It is really a bit fun. In the Marvel universe, the goddess Hermione has also transformed, but she is either too mysterious or too high and mighty, which makes it not fun enough. Like this, pretending to be a master and coming to the Jilbai family to treat diseases and save people is a bit fun. If the chief of the Jilbai tribe knew that the strange disease suffered by his useless son was the curse cast by this master, I wonder how Jilbai would feel. Hermione saw the dying Giglio, and his heart did not sympathize with him at all. This Giglio and Liu Zai did all kinds of bad things. In the original drama, they were naturally unsuccessful in dealing with Yen and Zhugzunner, because Yen and the others had the aura of the protagonist. But torturing and harming ordinary people would be a disaster for those ordinary people. Hermione came through, and although she did not make it clear that she was the savior, she still had to punish evil and promote good. Hermione said nothing, took out a silver needle as thick as the one used to give injections to pigs, and stabbed Giglio. Chief Jilbai was hesitant to speak. He had seen famous doctors use silver needles to treat diseases and save people, but such a thick needle, is it sure not a hidden weapon? Killing? But he didn't dare to say more. The aura of a strong man revealed by this famous doctor was even better than his. Before there was a definite result, Chief Jilbai naturally didn't dare to offend too much. Giglio screamed when he was stabbed by Hermione, and blood was gushing out of his body. But don't say it. After Hermione stopped, Giglio did feel much better. His face became ruddy, and he could even speak. "Give me 500,000 gold coins first, and bring all the herbs I need within 1 hour." Hermione took out a brush and began to write out the precious herbs one by one. Chief Jilbai's forehead was sweating. 500,000 gold coins, this is too much, and the herbs needed by this master are quite expensive. Hermione chose the ones that are treasured by the Jilbai family. As for the ones that their family doesn't have, Master Hermione didn't write any, since their family doesn't have them. Hermione doesn't need to write them. When she came to the Jilbai family to punch in and sign in, Hermione found out what good things their family has and even how much savings they have. But she didn't choose to steal. It's easy to steal, but if the Jilbai family is stolen, they will definitely be held accountable. Hermione is of course not afraid of their investigation, but it will be very troublesome. It would be better to let them take it out and hand it over to Master Hermione now, wouldn't it be better? Chief Jilbai felt very painful. "Master, do you really have a way to cure my son?" Chapter 531 The Devil Doctor Hermione. Hermione accepted the 500,000 gold coins without hesitation. The money earned by the Jilbai family from hiring Liu Zai, a first-class alchemist, to refine the rejuvenation powder at a high price was almost all taken away by Hermione. Hermione had planned it all. The Jilbai family was even worse off than Yen when they met Hermione. In fact, if Hermione hadn't come to the Jilbai family to sign in and punch in a few days ago, Hermione might not bother to take care of the Jilbai family's affairs. Hermione is not a person who likes to meddle in other people's business. However, since Hermione saw how evil Giglio and Liu Zai were, he naturally couldn't pretend not to see it. So, today, he came to harvest the Jilbai family. In fact, Hermione's coming here a few days ago was destined. Whether you can cure the noble son is not something that the Jilbai clan leader should worry about. You should quickly prepare the remaining 500,000 gold coins and the medicinal materials I need. As he spoke, the aura of a strong man around Hermione permeated again. Chief Jilbai is not weak, but at this moment, he actually felt a sense of suffocation. This master is definitely a master. Undoubtedly, in a world where the strong are respected, strength is everything. Since Hermione came to the Jilbai family, he has not explained his identity in a word. He just showed his strength, and all problems are no longer problems. This is the benefit of being strong. If Hermione only exposed the strength of a fighter, then I am afraid that Chief Jilbai would definitely interrogate for a long time, full of distrust. Chief, you have to think twice. After Jilbai came out, the elders of the Jilai family hurried forward and whispered to stop him. Now our family and the Zhao family are fighting fiercely, and every penny is very important. We have already given 500,000, which is enough. Shut up, Chief Jilbai said impatiently. If my son dies and Liu Zai dies, then we are really finished. If this master really has a way to treat them, no matter how much it costs, we must save them. Without Liu Zai, the Jilai family has no way to fight the Zhao family, and if Galio was gone, the chieftain of the Galiobi clan would be extinct. There was no other way. Even if it meant paying a heavy price, they had to pay. Besides, the 1 million reward for the famous doctor was also posted by their family, and the elders of the Galio family did not object at the time, because they knew that Galio was already terminally ill and could not be saved by gods. So, let alone 1 million gold coins, even 10 million gold coins would not be enough for the famous doctor. However, what they never expected was that at this time, Hermione suddenly jumped out. This devilish famous doctor. In less than an hour, all the medicinal materials were ready. Hermione accepted them all without hesitation, and then he lifted the curse on Galio. This guy should not die here. Hermione had already tortured him, and the rest depended on that stinky boy Yan. Miracle. Hermione pretended to mix mud and water to make a medicinal soup, and gave it to Galio. Not only did his body recover, but his spirit also recovered. A miracle doctor. He is really a miracle doctor. Chief Galio even knelt down. Even if Hermione could cure his son, Chief Galio thought Galio needed to recuperate for a few months, but he never thought that after drinking a bowl of medicine, he would be full of energy. Galio himself couldn't believe it. He was so sick that he could hardly lift his fingers. After drinking a bowl of medicinal soup that tasted like muddy water, he recovered 70% of his original health. Galio didn't care about his status as a patriarch. He knelt down and kowtowed repeatedly, saying, "Thank you for saving my life, Master. Thank you for saving my life." Hermione held back his laughter and continued to pretend to be a master, saying, "Give me the remaining 500,000 gold coins, and I will continue to travel around the world." This. Chief Galio hesitated. "Why? Do you want to default on your debt?" Hermione said in a serious tone. "No, Master. Don't misunderstand. Don't misunderstand. In fact, it's not just my son who is seriously ill. There is another." So, Hermione was brought to Liu Zai. This guy is almost unrecognizable now. When Liu Zai saw that Galio had recovered from his illness and was still standing by the side in high spirits, he immediately begged with a pale face, "Save me, save me." If Chief Jilbai had not taken a fancy to Liu Zai's identity as an alchemist, he would have wanted to let Liu Zai fend for himself at this moment. Although Galio was a playboy in the past, at least he didn't get infected with strange diseases. But since he colluded with Liu Zai, he didn't know what he ate every day and what he messed up, which eventually led to his death. "Master, look." Hermione knew when to stop, and didn't ask for too much. 1 million gold coins is indeed a bit too much to save one person. I just happen to have some medicine soup left. Help him up and give him the medicine. 1 million gold coins to save 2 people is not too much, Chief Jilbai said immediately. Not much, not much. I, Jilbai, will never forget the master's kindness." Hermione waved his hand. At this time, Liu Zai drank the mud soup and was half recovered. The main reason was that Hermione lifted the curse on them. The life and death of Jilao and Liu Zai were decided by Yan and Zhugzuner. Hermione just came here in advance to collect the interest. "Stop talking nonsense. I just want money." Chief Jilbai turned around and said to his subordinates, "Bring up the remaining 500,000 gold coins immediately." These cash were the deposits of the Jilai family, in boxes. Hermione was not polite and put all of them into the storage ring. Although Hermione was not short of money, no one thought he had too much money. After Liu Zai recovered from his illness, he also stood up and kowtowed to Hermione. Chief Jilbai wanted to entertain Master Hermione, and it would be best if this famous doctor with great skills could stay in the Jilal family. Of course, Now Herman would not stay. It was very tiring to pretend to be a famous doctor all the time. Wouldn't it be wonderful to go back to the Zhao family and spend every day with Alexander and Zhao as a beautiful girl? Now Herman finally left the Zhao family, and this legendary story soon spread throughout the Yuten city. When Zhao Herman returned to her original appearance and had afternoon tea with Alexander and Zhao Mai gnawed on a chicken leg and said hatefully, "It's so infuriating. The young master of the Gailey family got a strange disease and was about to die, but who knew that a famous doctor who came from nowhere suddenly jumped out and cured him with a bowl of medicine? That kind of scumbag doesn't deserve to die. It's such a pity." Alexander's beautiful eyes moved. She looked at Zhao Hemin opposite her and asked meaningfully, "Zhao Hemin, what do you think about this matter?" Zhao Hemin took Alexander's hand and said bluntly, "I observed the sky at night and the Gailey family is bound to perish. Even if a master saves that playboy, it is at most the difference between dying later and dying earlier." Zhao Mai is a gossipy little smarty. She blinked her seemingly shrewd eyes and said, "I heard that although the Gailey family cured that scumbag Galio this time, they also paid a considerable price. I heard that it cost 5 million gold coins alone." Zhao Hemin interrupted immediately, "It's a bit exaggerated. I heard it was 1 million. Zhao Mai shook her head and said, "There are many rumors. I think it's at least 3 million. Moreover, the Gailey family also paid a lot of precious medicinal materials, and those medicinal materials are worth millions." Zhao Hemin was speechless while drinking tea. The rumors were really exaggerated. Although the medicinal materials she wanted were precious, they were worth at most 500,000 gold coins. The important thing about medicinal materials is not the value, but the trouble of collecting them. Zhao Hemin wanted medicinal materials just for convenience. Alexander noticed Zhao Hemin's mood, and she felt even more strange. In fact, since the confrontation between the Gailey family and the Zhao family, the forces behind Alexander have also entered the scene. Although Alexander was not as terrified as Yao Lao about Zhao Hemin, she gradually realized that something was wrong. After all, as everyone spent too much time together, sometimes they would sleep together. Zhao Hemin didn't hide anything too much about what she thought was unimportant. In the future, when Alexander's true identity is revealed, Zhao Hemin can also reveal some of her secrets. "We are all good friends. You have a background and I also have my own mystery. We won't be like Zhao Mai, who can only be a little maid in the future." Chapter 532 Yan vs. Galio. What happened in the Gailey family is now a well-known big news in Yuten City. Yan used to be the topic of gossip, but now it has been the Gailey family. It can be said that things have changed over time. Yao Lao and Yan are also discussing this. "Teacher, who do you think will be the one who heals Gailio this time?" Yao Lao said, "There are too many masters in the world, and I can't guess it for the time being." Yao Lao thought that it would be Zhao Herman, whom he couldn't see through. But on second thought, he felt that it was unlikely. If Zhao Herman really had such great ability, she could have left Yuten City long ago. It would be a waste of time to stay here. During this period, the relationship between the Gailey family and the Zhao family further deteriorated, and it was even reported that the disciples of both sides had fought each other over a disagreement. In order to prevent the Zhao family's children from being alone and being attacked by the Gailey family, the Zhao family held a special meeting to tell the children that they must travel together when they go out, report any danger as soon as possible, and not act recklessly. But on this day, when Zhao Herman, Alexander and Zhao Mai went shopping together in the market, they were stopped by Galio and Liu Zai, who had recovered from their illness. These two beasts really forgot the pain after their wounds healed. Zhao Herman pretended to be a master and had just treated them not long ago. But today he came to the street to rob women, especially that Liu Zai. He was even more daring. When he saw the beautiful Alexander and Zhao Herman, his eyes lit up. Zhao Herman herself was filled with low-key attributes, which naturally had the effect of cooling people down. But Alexander didn't have that. For a scum like Liu Zai, this was simply the most beautiful woman in the world, and she couldn't let go at all. Galio had made an enemy once before. This time, with Liu Zai in collusion, he was even more courageous. Just like a gangster, usually in groups of 3 or 5, he was even more courageous. Gangsters who come and go alone usually don't deliberately cause trouble. Liu Zai, the girl opposite, is called Alexander. She is the most beautiful girl in our Wooden City. The girl Hermione beside her is not bad either. And that beautiful maid Mai is also very attractive. Liu Zai rubbed his hands and grinned. I didn't expect that the Zhao family actually had so many beauties. Galio volunteered. I'll go first. I just recovered from a serious illness and haven't had a good time with the girls yet. They came to my door today. In the past, the conflict between the Galio family and the Zhao family had not yet intensified to the point of being unable to get along. Even though Galio was a dandy, he would give him some face. Now it's different. The Galio family and the Zhao family are either you live or I live. Even if Galio and Liu Zai harm the girl of the Zhao family, so what? The entire Zhao family will be swallowed up by the Galio family sooner or later. Hee. Where are you girls going? Galio stepped forward with a smirk on his face, and his appearance was as wretched as it could be. Zhao Mai seemed to have heard what Galio had just said when he called her a maid. She was so angry that she shouted, "Get out of here." "Oh, you're such a bitch. I like this. The more you resist, the more excited I am." While Galio was talking, he turned around and flirted with Liu Zai. System options popped up in front of Hermione. Option 1. Rush up, grab Galio's head, and throw him directly to the ground, so that he will know what it's like when a watermelon hits the ground and breaks into pieces. Complete the task and you will be rewarded with a super sweet big watermelon. Option 2. Use magic to secretly make Galio and Liu Zai feel miserable, so that they will know what a cruel fate it is to offend yourself. Complete the task and you will be rewarded with exclusive attribute, Magic, +1. Option 3. Wait for Yan to come to support, and let Yan defeat Galio. Complete the task and you will be rewarded with basic attribute +2. If you don't see option 3, option 2 is undoubtedly the best reward. Both options 1 and 2 involve taking action. Option 1 is undoubtedly more like a roar of injustice, which makes Galio's head smash on the ground like a watermelon. He is definitely dead. Option 2 is also a punishment, but it leaves room for maneuver. However, compared with the reward of option 3, the first two immediately start to look insufficient. Profits are paramount, so of course option 3 is chosen. Seeing that the other party Galio is so arrogant and domineering, and that Liu Zai also has a very obscene look, such a scum is naturally unbearable. Zhao is going to take action. With her real strength, she should be able to teach Galio a lesson. However, her little hand was suddenly grabbed by Zhao Herman, who was also beautiful. Zhao Herman shook her head at Zhao Zhao didn't quite understand what Zhao Herman meant until Zhao, who was also shopping today. Zhao and her younger brother Zhao Ning came to the market today to see how the business between the Galio family and the Zhao family was going today. Unexpectedly, she accidentally ran into such an exciting scene. "Brother, don't be impulsive. I'll go call Zhao Yan." Zhao knew Zhao Hemin was very good at swordsmanship. Logically, she shouldn't distrust Zhao Hemin and go to find Zhao Yan. Moreover, her own strength is not weak. In the original play, it was she who fought with Galio. Although Zhao and Zhao and others did not have a good relationship, they were all members of the Zhao family after all. How could she watch them being bullied by the Galio family on the street? Here, there was a reason why Zhao acted so abnormally. It was Zhao Hemin's magic. It was Zhao Hemin who used magic to control Zhao and made her subconsciously go to find Zhao Yan. After all, the task of option 3 had been made, so it was natural to take action. Before Zhao left, she told Zhao Ning that he didn't want to get carried away. However, Zhao Ning liked Zhao, and seeing Zhao being teased by the Galio family opposite, he absolutely couldn't stand it. Zhao Ning drew out his long sword and rushed up directly. "Galio, stop being so arrogant." After seeing who was coming, Galio was not afraid at all, but laughed at him. "Hey, isn't this the mediocre Zhao Ning who was defeated by Zhao Yan at the Zhao family's coming-of-age ceremony?" Damn it, good news doesn't go out, but bad news spreads 1,000 miles. Even Ning can't avoid it. Zhao Ning didn't talk too much with Galio, who was a well-known scum in Wooden City. He couldn't win verbally, he could only show his true colors with his hands. "Zhao Ning, I didn't expect that he is also a man of blood." Zhao Mai sighed. In the original play, she and Zhao Ning had a lot of intersections. If Zhao Ning hadn't always had feelings for Zhao, Perhaps they would be more like a couple. It's a pity that now they are just ordinary clan members. Facing Zhao Mai's side, now Hermione and Zhao Xuner didn't say anything. Zhao Ning's attack was pretty good. It was unknown whether the sword in his hand had anything to do with his sister Xiao. However, after a few rounds with Galio's ultimate move, it was obvious that he was still no match for Galio. After all, Galio was already in his 20s, much older than Zhao Ning. Chief Galio had only one son, so he naturally cultivated him wholeheartedly. The fighting skills that he had spent a high price on at the Tamar auction house were also for his son Galio to practice. Zhao Ning was naturally no match for him and was knocked down with a punch, spitting blood. Zhao Ning was humiliated and wanted to be a hero to save the beauty, but he was not strong enough and was knocked down by the villain instead. Zhao Ning was in a very bad mood and didn't even dare to look into Zhao Xuner's eyes. Ha ha ha, with this level of skill, you dare to stand up, what a disgrace. However, when Galio was just feeling proud, a man rushed over quickly. 8 extreme collapse. He came up with an ultimate move. The person who came was none other than Jian. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 533 Xiaozan vs. Jilbai. Jian's attack was ruthless, and Galio was extremely arrogant. Last time, he wanted to pick up Xuner in the market, and this time he even fought. When Jian was informed by Xiao, he was also surprised. In Jian's impression, Xiao was famous for his hot temper. But since Zhao Herman let Xiao know what the real swordsmanship is, Xiao has changed completely. Xiao cares about her brother very much. Logically, Jian defeated Zhao Ning at the adult ceremony, and Xiao should not be indifferent. However, Xiao did not come to trouble Jian once. This time it was even more outrageous. Xiao actually came to inform Jian that Zhao Xuner, Zhao Herman, and Zhao Mai were being molested by Galio. This is too much. A rage for a beauty. Jian has now become a martial arts fanatic and has practiced hard. If he can't even protect the girl in the house, then what is the point of his desperate practice? When Jian saw Galio, his anger was uncontrollable, and he went up to use the 8 extreme collapse move. Seeing that it was Jian, Galio wanted to say a few words. After all, according to the routine, he must use words to attract hatred, and when the hatred between the two sides reaches a certain value, they will fight. But Galio underestimated Jian's transformation now, and Jian was too lazy to talk to him. Zhao Xuner, Zhao Hermione, and Zhao Mai, 3 women were intercepted by Galio at the same time, and they wanted to attack. This kind of anger cannot be tolerated by words. Galio did not dare to neglect it. Although Jian was a famous waste young master before, his reputation in Mutant City is very high recently, and the move made by Jian was really terrifying. Obviously, Galio practiced for several years more than Jian, but at this moment, the two sides hit each other. Boom. Galio felt that Jian's attack was like a huge mountain hitting him. Crack. Just one blow. Galio's arm was directly fractured. Ah! Galio screamed, and then his whole body flew out uncontrollably. Xiao was right behind him. She was a little surprised to see this scene. Is Jian so strong now? But now is not the time to sigh at Jian's strength. Xiao quickly came to her brother Zhao Ning. Are you okay? Without asking too much, she knew that her brother must have been a hero saving the beauty, but ended up being defeated because of his lack of strength. Zhao Ning was ashamed. Before, in the Zhao family, he still laughed at Jian's existence. However, now, Jian is far superior to him. Galio, who he could not beat at all, was defeated by Jian in one blow. Damn Jian, just wait for me. Galio said something cruel and planned to run away. His luck was really bad recently. He almost died of illness a few days ago. It was not easy to meet a master to save him. Today, he came out with Liu Zai and just met a good thing. He planned to go back to his old job, but he didn't expect that Jian was so powerful. If you want to leave, leave your life here. Jian was really angry. A dragon has reverse scales. Zhao Xuner is the last pure land in Jian's mind. This Galio is so bold that he keeps making trouble. Now the Zhao family and the Galio family are incompatible. Why not take this opportunity to kill him today? Yan is a ruthless character. As his strength increases, the violence in his heart is released directly. Boom. Another blow. Galio was knocked away. Yan picked up a sharp blade from the onlookers and was about to pierce Galio with a sword. Stop, little beast. At the critical moment, Hermione did not make a move, because her mission had been completed since Yan defeated Galio. At the beginning, she cursed Galio and Liu Zai, but did not kill them. Her purpose was to wait for Yan to kill them. However, today, the head of the Galio clan heard that his evil son Galio and Liu Zai went out to fool around together again. He felt very uneasy. Sure enough, the spies soon reported that Galio and Liu Zai had kidnapped 3 beautiful girls from the Zhao family, and even beat up Astounding from the Zhao family in the street. This was good news, but Chief Zhao was worried. The Zhao family is in trouble now, and he is not like the playboy Galio. He knows that the Zhao family will definitely not give up. Kidnapping a beautiful girl from the Zhao family will quickly cause trouble. It's okay if the rice is cooked. At most, the Zhao family will come and pay some money to settle the matter. But kidnapping 3 people at the same time, this is undoubtedly a slap in the face of the Zhao family, and it is definitely not as simple as a small conflict between young people. Chief Zhao rushed over quickly, and sure enough, he just saw Yan raising his sword to kill his son. This Yan has been a waste for 3 years. How can he be so powerful now? Chief Zhao was surprised. Although his evil son did all kinds of bad things, his son's strength was still not weak. He was actually defeated by Yan. The great shame and humiliation were secondary. The main thing was that if this little beast was given some more time, he would become a big worry for the Zhao family in the future. We can't keep him. Moreover, Yan was ruthless and planned to kill his son in the street. Then the old man Jollibee didn't intend to follow the rules and directly killed this little beast in the street. One hit to kill. Yan didn't expect that the Jollibee clan leader came so quickly, and his attack was even more ruthless than his. He was planning to kill Yan directly. Critical moment. Hermione took action. She seemed to simply raise her finger, and a magical force that others could not detect appeared between Yan and the Jollibee clan leader. The fatal blow only made Yan spit blood and fall to the ground. The Jollibee clan leader didn't expect that this little beast had a great life and was planning to finish off the knife and completely kill Yan, the scourge. However, at this time, Zan, the clan leader of the Zhao family, also came quickly. He had the same idea as the Jollibee clan leader. Now the 2 families were like fire and water, and the slightest movement could affect the other's nerves. Even the clan leader Zhan suspected that the dandy Galio was deliberately looking for trouble and was planning to do something. He never expected that the old man Galio was going to kill his son. Lion Mountain Crack. Zhan also used his fighting skills and attacked the clan leader Galio fiercely. Old beast, you dared to hurt my son. The clan leader Galio did not show weakness and said, "It was your son who hurt my son first and wanted to take my son's life. You are a cruel little thing. I will naturally teach him a lesson for you." It sounds reasonable. Zhan was a little surprised. Although he knew that Yan's strength had greatly increased, Galio had been promoted to a fighter for a long time. His 3rd son Yan could actually defeat Galio. When Mai saw the clan leader coming, she was immediately filled with righteous indignation and said, "It was Galio, the dandy, who teased us first, and this bastard." Mai didn't know Liu Zai's name yet, so she could only call him a bastard. This Liu Zai and Galio are in cahoots with each other. They are so bold and reckless in broad daylight. Humphrey, Galio, what else do you have to say? Zhan is very strong. Even if Chief Galio uses all his strength, he can only barely tie. There is no point in continuing to fight. Chief Galio withdrew his hand and said, "Isn't it normal for children to talk about love? You fart." Mai may be used to following Hermione, and at this moment, she also cursed the old man Galio without any scruples. Sure enough, the person who can give birth to such a broken man like Galio is also a bad guy. It is obvious that Galio intends to rob the woman, which is extremely evil, but in your mouth it becomes a love affair. As the head of the Galio family, please have some shame. Chapter 534. Alexander looks at Hermione. Bastard. After all, Jollibee is the head of Zhao family. one of the 3 major families in Yun City, and his status is still very high. This Zhao Mai dared to scold him in front of so many people. She was simply looking for death. Little girl, who allowed you to talk to me like this? Zhao Bai came forward with a rather scary momentum. If it weren't for Zhao Zan who was beside him, I'm afraid this Zhao Bai would have planned to slap Mai to death with one palm. Bullying my little brother. Do you think I don't exist? Zhao Hemin stood up at this moment. Even if she didn't release her own powerful strength, Zhao Hemin's sharp eyes alone shocked the powerful Zhao Bai chief. Who is this woman? How can her eyes be so cold? It was as if the soul of the Zhao Bai chief was about to be pierced just a moment ago. While Zhao Bai was stunned, the chief Zhao Zan hadn't noticed the abnormality of Zhao Bai, but Zhao Xuner beside him noticed it perfectly. Zhao Xuner was not surprised that Zhao Hemin would pull Zhao Mai behind her, but what surprised Zhao Xuner was the reaction of the head of the Zhao Bai clan opposite. It was too surprising. Even though Zhao Hemin was a strange woman, she was the head of the Zhao Bai clan, and she was stunned by Zhao Hemin's eyes. This was too contrary to common sense. What is Zhao Hemin's identity? Zhao Xuner also began to have great doubts about Zhao Hemin's identity like Yao Lao. However, Zhao Xuner did not show it on her face. After all, she and Zhao Hemin had known each other for more than a year, and she should not be surprised. Now you also noticed this scene. She was more excited than Zhao Xuner, because she knew Zhao Hemin's strength, being able to scare off the head of the Zhao Bai clan with a sharp look. What a powerful aura. Zhao Hemin is really amazing. The head of the clan, Zhao Zan, was more concerned about his son Zhao Yan. He helped Zhao Yan up and asked about his son's injuries. Zhao Yan shook his head and said that he was fine, although the attack just now was from Chief Zhao Bai. In fact, Zhao Yan's injury was not as serious as Zhao Liu's. At that time, Zhao Yan felt very strange, as if an energy shield appeared in front of him, blocking most of Zhao Bai's fatal attacks, which minimized the damage to Zhao Yan. Zhao Yan even suspected that Yao Lao had secretly made a move, or Zhao Bai's eyes were blurry and he missed the target. Knowing that his son Zhao Yan was fine, Chief Zhao Zan was relieved. Then he continued to trouble Zhao Bai. Zhao Bai took a closer look at the exotic Hermione. Her excellent figure and beautiful face were of course not the most important. The most important thing was her look that even surprised him. Zhao Bai even suspected that he had just had an illusion. Otherwise, how could he, a dignified chief, be so unbearable in front of a beautiful girl? Since neither your son nor my son is in trouble, let's end today's matter here. Zhao Bai took his useless son Zhao Lao and said, let's see the dispute between our 2 families in the business field. Zhao Zan didn't want to give up so easily. Although his son Zhao Yan defeated the other side's playboy, it was the other side that started the trouble, and Zhao Bai was disrespectful and injured his son. However, this Zhao Bai's strength is equal to Zhao Zan. Even if the fight continues, neither side will end up well. Okay, see you in the business field. Zhao Zan stopped entangled and took his son Zhao Yan back to help him heal his injuries. Of course, he still had to ask about Zhao Ning's injuries. Thank you for your concern, clan leader. I'm fine. Zhao Ning felt bitter. Although Zhao Yan was injured like him, he was no match for Zhao Lao. While Zhao Yan was injured by clan leader Zhao Bai, the two were completely different. After the conflict ended today, there were discussions everywhere. I've heard that Zhao Yan of the Zhao family has recovered now. I didn't expect that his strength has increased so much that he defeated the evil Galio with one move. It's so satisfying. I've been annoyed with Galio for a long time. That night, Zhao Yan was treated by the patriarch Zhao Zan, and his injuries were mostly healed. After his father left, Zhao Yan immediately swallowed the healing medicine made by Yao Lao, sat cross-legged, and circulated his fighting spirit. After a while, his injuries were almost healed. At this time, Zhao Yan thanked Yao Lao. He said that if Yao Lao hadn't taken action when Jia Libi attacked, he, Zhao Yan, might have died. Yao Lao said bluntly, "You thanked the wrong person." "It wasn't me who took action at that time," Yao Lao said proudly. "If I had taken action, would that Jia Libi still be alive?" Zhao Yan was a little surprised. "If it wasn't the teacher who did it, am I really blessed at that time?" Yao Lao changed the subject and said, "Zhao Yan, I told you a long time ago that there are more mysterious people in the Zhao family than just me. Alexander. Herman. Yan guessed something immediately, but Yan really didn't understand what method Herman used to save his life at the critical moment. Suddenly Yan said fiercely in his heart, "Teacher, I don't want to wait any longer." He wanted to become stronger quickly. He wanted to leave Yuten City and venture into the Qi continent with more opportunities. But now, he must solve the big trouble of the Jiali family. Yao Lao was very smart. He guessed, "Do you want to go to the Jiali family tonight to kill that Jilio?" Yan said coldly, "That beast is not worth my concern. It's the first-grade alchemist next to that Jilio today." Yan is not stupid. Although the first-grade alchemist is not of high level, but the fact that the Jiali family is not afraid of the Zhao family's blood coagulation powder is enough to show that the alchemist has a better prescription than the rejuvenation powder. If we wait for the other party to refine the medicine and sell it in the market, then the Zhao family will also have to refine new medicine. It is a waste of time to go back and forth like this. Instead of doing this, it is better to do it once and for all and kill Liu Zai tonight. Yao Lao nodded and said, "You have such a decisive and ruthless spirit. You are a good seedling to become a master. I will go with you tonight. When necessary, I will help you." "Thank you, teacher." Yan put on his nightgown and went out tonight on a dark and windy night. Yan has been in Qi continent for many years and has never killed anyone, but if he wants to get rid of that scum Liu Zai tonight, Yan has no psychological burden at all. Do justice for the heaven. Hemen, an advanced magic, is to wash the whole body clean, and then look at the system pop-up window in front of her, thinking. She guessed that Yan would take action tonight, and naturally guessed that the system would not be lonely and would trigger a task for Hemen to join in the fun. Option 1. Help Liu Zai and let him avoid Yan's assassination. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, Villain, +1. Option 2. Let Yan miss, kill Liu Zai in advance, and then put the blame on Yan. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, Strategy, +1. Option 3. Go over to join in the fun. She doesn't need to take action tonight, just watch the show. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, Fighting Spirit, +1. It's interesting that none of the rewards for the three options are basic attributes +1. One is to help the villain Liu Zai, and the other is to kill him in advance and put the blame on Yan. After comparing, the simplest and slightly more practical reward is undoubtedly option 3. Although Herman's fighting spirit level is not low in Yuten City, it is still worth going there to improve it based on the attributes. After all, it's just going over to watch the show, which is not difficult. Chapter 535 Zhao Xun'er's Strange Fire. The mission was not difficult. Hemen did not need to make any preparations. She just came to the Jiao family. The environment here was very familiar to Hemen. First, she followed Zhao Yan. This time, Yan directly let Yao Lao possess him. Yao Lao's strength was beyond doubt. But even Yao Lao could not detect Hemen's existence. Liu Zai was not a good guy. This guy relied on himself as a first-class alchemist and was as wretched as he could be. During the period when he was cursed by Hemen, he was like Jilio and could not touch women at all. He was in good health and fell in love with Xun'er and other beauties of the Zhao family in the market. But Jilio was not strong enough and could not snatch them away. The Qi continent naturally had no shortage of women. Tonight, when he was about to enjoy them, Xun'er suddenly appeared. Compared with the disguised Yan and the invisible Hemen, Xun'er came in a dignified manner, neither hiding her stunning appearance nor sneaking around. This Liu Zai is not only a first-class alchemist, but also a 6-star fighter. He is a distinguished guest in the Jiali family. Tonight, this little beauty Xun'er appeared silently, which really made Liu Zai's heart jump. Little beauty of the Zhao family, you didn't come here specially to spend the night with me, did you? Although Liu Zai is an LSP, he is not stupid. The other party must be ill-intentioned. What do you think? Xun'er was as cold as ice, and walked towards Liu Zai step by step. She was so beautiful, but full of deterrence. Yan, who was hiding in a corner, was very surprised when he saw this scene. What is Xun'er doing here? Yao Lao seemed to guess what Yan was thinking, and answered directly. Most likely her purpose tonight is the same as yours. Yao Lao felt very interesting, and he wanted to see how Xun'er would act next. However, Yao Lao didn't know that there was also an invisible Zhao Herman in this place. Of course, Zhao Herman didn't need to do anything tonight, she just needed to watch the excitement from the side. Next is Zhao Xun'er's performance. Zhao Xun'er's eyes are cold. Although her cultivation level seems to be inferior to Liu Zai's, she is even more terrifying. Finally, Zhao Xun'er raised her hand and the golden flame flew over. Ah! Liu Zai screamed, and his body was directly pierced into a hole. Seeing that the other party was dead, Zhao Xun'er left directly. Yan was shocked. What fighting skills did Xun'er use? Yao Lao was also a little shocked. If I guess correctly, that golden flame should also be a strange fire. Yan was helpless. Teacher, is the strange fire so worthless? Why does it feel like everyone has it? You stinky boy. Strange fire is not so easy to get, it's just because Zhao Xun'er has a strong identity and background. The strange fire is her self-defense treasure. It's a bit of a waste to use it to kill Liu Zai today, Yao Lao explained with a smile. Yan looked at the corpse of Liu Zai and said, since Xun'er has already made a move, let's just go. Don't worry, Yao Lao sent a voice message to Yan. This Liu Zai is treacherous. I'm afraid it won't be so easy to kill him. As expected, Liu Zai did so many bad things, but he was still alive today. Naturally he had his own way to save his life. Turtle breath pill, a pill that can make oneself enter a state of suspended animation. After confirming that the cruel woman Zhao Xun'er had left, Liu Zai immediately woke up and swallowed the healing pill desperately to start healing. Damn it, I almost died just now. I must avenge this. Liu Zai thought of Zhao Xun'er's beautiful body and thought of the shameless means to torture her in the future. However, the mantis stalks the cicada, and the oriole is behind. Yan jumped out and said coldly, I'm afraid you don't have a chance. Who are you? Could it be Yan? Liu Zai never dreamed that his head was so valuable. Tonight, 2 waves of enemies came to take his head. Teacher, do it. Yan didn't want to say any more nonsense, as delay would lead to changes. Many villains, because they talk too much, eventually lead to the protagonist's reversal of adversity. Yan certainly doesn't think he is a villain, and killing Liu Zai is also doing justice for the heavens, but at this important moment of killing, it is not a wise choice to be long-winded. Even if you want to say a few more words, you can say it in front of the enemy's ashes. Yao Lao's attack is even more ruthless than Zhao Xun'er. Yao Lao also uses strange fire, bone spirit cold fire, and the gloomy flames directly burn on Liu Zai's body, making him wail in pain. But in this room, Yao Lao had already blocked the sound with fighting skills. Even if Liu Zai screamed inside, no one outside would hear it. Soon, Liu Zai was burned by the bone spirit cold fire and only a pile of ashes remained. Yan still had the mind to say something. Let's see how you can be resurrected this time. Zhao Xun'er, Yan and Yao Lao performed very well. Hermione, who was watching the show, also successfully completed the task and obtained Fighting Spirit, +1. Only 1 point was added to the physical attribute, and the perception was not obvious. In the original play, when Yan left, he met Zhao Xun'er on the roof. It turned out that Zhao Xun'er was not in a hurry to leave. She was not as careless as Yan imagined. However, here, Zhao Xun'er did not leave. She would not leave until Liu Zai was completely dead. However, Yan's body was possessed by Yao Lao. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Yan to break into Jia Lai's house at night without being discovered. Therefore, Yao Lao would certainly not deliberately expose himself in front of Zhao Xun'er. The two staggered. Zhao Xun'er noticed that there was no movement in the house. When she was sure that Liu Zai was really dead, she left with satisfaction. Zhao Xun'er returned to the Zhao family, but saw a beautiful woman as beautiful as her waiting for her in her house. It's so late. Where have you been? Zhao Xun'er didn't expect that Zhao Hemin would come to sleep with her tonight, and she didn't tell her during the day. Zhao Xun'er was a little flustered. Her acting skills were certainly not as perfect as Zhao Hemin's, and her pretty face was full of flaws. However, Zhao Xun'er thought that Zhao Hemin didn't notice, so she pretended to have a stomachache and said, "My stomach felt a little uncomfortable just now." Zhao Hemin laughed secretly. You little girl who can't lie. You were not like this when you killed someone in the Jiali family just now. Zhao Hemin pulled Zhao Xuner over and pretended to be concerned. Were you mad at the two beasts in the Jiali family during the day? I was worried about you, so I decided to come and sleep with you tonight, Zhao Hemin said as he stretched out his hand to help Zhao Xuner rub her stomach. Zhao Xuner was just pretending to be in pain. She felt a little embarrassed when she felt Zhao Hemin heal her chi into her body, but she managed to remain calm and said, Zhao Mai is also threatened by the Jiali family. Why don't you go to accompany her? Zhao Xuner felt that although Zhao Hemin was as beautiful as herself, she could clearly feel the difference. Zhao Hemin treated her more like she was coveting her beauty. However, Zhao Xuner was no exception. In the entire Zhao family, or even in the entire Yuden city, there was no other beautiful girl as beautiful as Zhao Hemin, who was loved by everyone. If it weren't for the fact that Zhao Hemin was also a girl, Zhao Xuner would have transferred her feelings for brother Zhayan after a year of getting along. Zhao Hemin answered very naturally. Zhao Mai went to bed early and has fallen asleep now. She doesn't need me to accompany her. Zhao Xuner blushed slightly. She went straight into Zhao Hemin's arms and whispered, Okay, Zhao Hemin, you can sleep with me tonight. Chapter 536 Eating with Zhao Yan. There was no conversation that night. Zhao Xuner was a little uncomfortable when she was blocked in the house by Zhao Hemin at first. But when she was about to fall asleep, she thought about it the other way around. She slept with Zhao Hemin all night tonight. Even if someone questioned her tomorrow, she had witnesses to prove that she did not go out to kill or set fire last night. The death of a little guy like Liu Zai did not affect Zhao Xuner's mood too much. Even Yan slept very well last night. The first murder was actually not killed by Yan, but by Yao Lao. Yan was at most an instigator. In the Qi continent, the strong are respected, and human life is worthless. Killing a bad guy does not have any psychological burden. In contrast, the Jiali family was in chaos. After a night, Jiao was still recovering from his injuries. During the day, he was broken in the arm by Yan's Baji Beng. It takes 100 days to recover from the injury. Although it does not take that long in the Qi continent, it is not possible to recover in 1 or 2 nights. But who would have thought that the alchemist of the Jiali family would disappear magically overnight? Did he run away overnight? Knowing that he couldn't compete with the Zhao family's blood coagulation powder, he was too ashamed to stay in the Jiali family, so he ran away directly. But that's not right. Liu Zai's things, the guy who made the elixir, are still there. After some investigation, it was discovered that there were traces of fighting in Liu Zai's room. However, there was a pile of ashes in the corner of the room. It was the ashes of bones that were burned very well. Generally, if it is not burned thoroughly, there will be some broken bones and burnt fat. However, Liu Zai's ashes were burned very thoroughly, and they were as white as flour, so that the Jiali family did not suspect that they were ashes at first. An alchemist of Yao Lao's level used the bone spear at cold fire to burn Liu Zai, so how could the ashes burned out not be fine and clean? Who is it? I actually burned Liu Zai alive into ashes. After learning the result, the head of the Jiali clan was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Even if Liu Zai was a scumbag, his ability to make medicine was of great use to the Jiali family. Without Liu Zai, where can I find another alchemist in the short term? Galio was injured. He was shocked and immediately suspected, it must be the Zhao family. It is the Zhao family that has been hostile to us recently. Galio did not mention Yan. He fought with Yan yesterday. Although that kid was indeed stronger than him, he felt that Yan did not have the ability to burn Liu Zai into such fine ashes without anyone noticing in the Galio family. Damn it, Chief Jiali smashed the door frame with a slap. He wanted to take Liu Zai's ashes to the Zhao family to ask for an explanation and to punish the crime. But, if it was really done by the Zhao family, then it means that the overall strength of the Zhao family is far superior to that of the Galio family. Now that Liu Zai is dead, this matter cannot be exposed. At the same time, there is no evidence. Chief Jiali can't collect fingerprints, nor can he restore the crime scene. There is no evidence. He can't just take Liu Zai's ashes and say that it was done by the Zhao family. If the Galio family is indeed several levels stronger than the Zhao family, then they can indeed directly crush the other party. But now, the Jiali family is not as powerful as the Zhao family. Therefore, Regarding the fact that Liu Zai turned into ashes overnight, the Jollibee clan leader could only endure it and then began to plan the next move. On the Zhao family's Yan side, because the Zhao family suppressed the matter very well, the fact that Liu Zai was killed was not exposed at all. Yan didn't care either. He was concerned about Zhao Xuner and wanted to know how Xuner was doing today. When Zhao Xuner tried to kill Liu Zai last night, it was still beyond Yan's expectations. But today, when he saw Zhao Hemin and Zhao Xuner coming out together at Zhao Xuner's door, Yan was stunned. Did they sleep together last night? Zhao Hemin was calm, but Zhao Xuner was a little uncomfortable. Although Zhao Hemin was a girl, she always felt like she was caught cheating. Brother Yan, you came to me so early in the morning, what's the matter? When Zhao Xuner killed Liu Zai last night, she didn't notice Yan and Zhao Hemin at all, so she naturally didn't think that Yan and Zhao Hemin knew today. Yan was a little embarrassed. He hesitated for a while and asked, did Zhao Hemin and Xuner sleep together last night? Without waiting for Zhao Hemin to answer, Zhao Xuner hurried to explain, well, because Zhao Hemin was worried that I would be frightened by the two beasts of the Zhao family during the day. Zhao Hemin stayed with me last night. As she spoke, Zhao Xuner took Hemin's hand, as if she was grateful, as if she was also telling Yan that the two sisters had a very good relationship. Seeing this scene, Yan felt a little headache. One is a strange woman that even Yao Lao can't see through. The other is a cold-blooded woman who wanted to kill people with the strange fire last night, but today, the two of them are close to each other, as if they were ordinary girls. They are really good at hiding. Yan said, well, I am also worried about this. Since you are all fine, I am relieved. Zhao Hemin looked at the new options in front of her. They were all relatively simple, such as telling Yan, Zhao Xuner is my woman, you should give up this idea. Funny option, for example, pull Zhao Xuner to dance for Yan on the spot. Regular dance option. So, Zhao Hemin chose something more normal. Yan, since you're here, let's have a meal together, and call Zhao Mai to join us. The only option left is to have a meal together. How simple. Yan hesitated, and looked at Zhao Xuner and Zhao Hemin. In fact, he had something else to do today, but these two beauties were so beautiful. When Yan thought about the two of them sleeping together last night, his nose bleed a little. Although Yan has evolved into a martial arts fanatic now, it does not mean that he does not like beautiful women. In fact, Yan has always liked Zhao Xuner. It's not just about appearance. Zhao Xuner accompanied Yan for 3 years when he was down and out. How could Yan forget it? Maybe men fall in love with every girl they see, but that is usually just liking the beautiful appearance of a girl, which is a physical impulse. But psychologically, other girls can't compare with Zhao Xuner at all. This requires the integration of mind and time, tolerance, care and concern, in order to settle down. Even though Zhao Hemin helped Yan a lot this year, in Yan's mind, Zhao Xuner is still irreplaceable by other girls. But now the most important thing for Yan is to become stronger and practice, not to talk about love under the moonlight, so he didn't show it. Well, what's for breakfast? For Zhao Xuner and Zhao Hemin, Yan is willing to stay and eat this breakfast. If Yan knew that Zhao Hemin only proposed it for the option task, he would probably have a different mood. Zhao Mai got up very late. She slept too soundly last night. If Zhao Hemin hadn't said that the food today was delicious, she would not want to get up. Following Zhao Hemin, Zhao Mai has become much lazier now. Eat steak in the morning. Zhao Hemin made it on the spot. She rarely cooks by herself, but there are some fresh ingredients that she can't help but do. Oh my god, it's so delicious. Zhao Mai sighed. She drank milk and ate steak, and she was undoubtedly eating happily for breakfast today. Yan also sighed. If Zhao Hemin hadn't taken out the steak, he would have almost forgotten that there was such food. Zhao Xuner also blushed a little. Zhao Herman naturally held her hand and taught her how to use a knife and fork to cut steak. Yan did not feel jealous. Instead, he felt that the 3 girls of the Zhao family in front of him were as beautiful as a painting, which made people feel pleasing to the eye. Each of them had their own characteristics, and no matter who they looked at, it made people feel happy. Even Mai, a foodie who was concentrating on eating. Chapter 537, Hermione Granger's childhood. Yan still cherishes this kind of time, not because he covets the looks of the 3 beauties, but because everyone feels like a family when they are together like this. This is something that cannot be given in the original culture of the entire Zhao family, relaxed and warm. Diane knows that all this is brought by Zhao Hemin. In the original play, Diane could not change the entire Zhao family in Mutant City. He could only go with the flow and be changed by the cruel competitive culture of this world. However, Zhao Hemin is different. The magnetic field around her is very strong. Although she did not change the entire Zhao family or the entire Mutant City, she could change her surroundings and make the people around her feel relaxed and free as never before. Just like in the original play, eating in the key continent is not worth lingering at all. Everyone is focused on becoming stronger, seizing treasures, and even playing with women. But with Zhao Hemin, today's breakfast becomes worth remembering. After Diane finished his meal, he got up and prepared to leave. He had important things to do today, and Zhao Xuner did not keep him. Zhao Hemin looked at Diane for a while, and seeing that the system did not prompt the task option, she did not intend to follow him. Not surprisingly, after Diane solves the Zhao family, the storyline of the Zhao family is about to end. Now let's cherish every day of living in the Zhao family. Although Zhao Herman can use the door key to travel back at any time, will it be the same as before? Just like the countryside in childhood, you can go back at any time, but people go back. It may be youth, middle age, old age, but you can never go back to that childhood when dragonflies were flying all over the sky in summer. Zhao Herman is thoughtful and of course she can understand. So, since the system does not trigger the task on Diane, Zhao Herman will take Zhao Xuner and Zhao Mai to continue traveling. The Zhao family is now in fierce competition with the Zhao family, but the three girls can't help much. The elders of the Zhao family don't need their help, just don't make trouble. When I went out, I met Zhao Yu, who had just delivered medicine to her injured brother Zhao Ning. Her careless brother is also miserable. At the coming-of-age ceremony, Diane beat him severely. Not long after he recovered, he was beaten by the dandy Galio. During this period, Zhao Ning was not seen in the Zhao family. Zhao Yu avoided Zhao Herman when she saw her. Zhao Herman was nosy. Zhao Yu would never forget the sword she demonstrated to her in the back mountain. But Zhao Herman saw something different in Zhao Yu's charming body. Option 1. Ask Zhao Yu to go sightseeing together and leave unforgettable girlhood memories together. Complete the task and get a basic reward +1. Option 2. If you don't like Zhao Yu, just go up and kick her. Complete the task and get a chrysanthemum-scented soap 1 piece. Option 3. Teach Zhao Yu to dance. As long as she shakes her head and dances well, her swordsmanship will also improve. Complete the task and get the exclusive attribute, Dance, +1. Zhao Herman glanced at these 3 options and was too lazy to think about them. Option 2 and Option 3 were eliminated directly. Zhao Yu, wait a minute. Zhao Yu was startled when she heard Zhao Hemin's call. Her beauty, which was not inferior to Zhao Mai's, and her super beautiful legs, were very eye-catching. Zhao Yu not only had beautiful legs, but also had a super plump upper body. In the original drama, the shameless Diane stared at her many times. The martial arts fanatic Diane here was obviously much more serious. The main reason was that there was an extra Zhao Hemin here. All the beauties were attracted by her. They played all kinds of games every day, and Diane had no chance. Zhao Yu saw that there were Zhao Xuner and Zhao Mai here. She concealed her nervousness and pretended to answer naturally. What? Zhao Hemin knew that Zhao Yu had been hiding from her, but it had been so long since the last sword fight in the back mountain. There was no need to live under the shadow of Zhao Hemin's swordsmanship. After all, Zhao Hemin didn't often use swordsmanship. Zhao Hemin was more of a witch and used magic. Zhao Hemin took Zhao Yu's hand unceremoniously. Compared with Zhao Xuner's softness and Zhao Mai's ordinariness, Zhao Yu's hands seemed a little rough. It's not that Zhao Yu's hands are not pretty. How can beauties in novels be ugly? Beauty ranking: 3-dimensional, real world, 2-dimensional, comic game world, 1-dimensional, fantasy world in novels. So there is no one-dimensional beauty that is not beautiful. But in comparison, Zhao Yu's hands are definitely not as good as Zhao Xuner's, because Zhao Yu often practices sword. Calluses are inevitable on her palms. In addition, if she doesn't take care of it in time, she will inevitably have scars from injuries. We should go out and play together. Although you, Zhao Yu, are a few years older than us, we are all members of the Zhao family. Why don't we go out and stroll together? Zhao Yu's body was a little stiff. She had seen the horror of Zhao Hemin. The moment Zhao Hemin pulled her hand, Zhao Yu even recalled the murderous aura of that day. However, seeing that Zhao Hemin was as gentle as water today, Zhao Yu gradually relaxed. When Zhao Hemin paid attention to Zhao Yu's palm, Zhao Yu also paid attention to Zhao Hemin's palm. Strange. Surprised, Zhao Yu knew how terrifying Zhao Hemin's sword drawing technique was. She must have practiced drawing the sword millions of times to have such a speed and power. However, Zhao Hemin's little hands were as soft as jade, softer than those of a girl who had never touched water before. How is this possible? With such hands, she probably couldn't even hold the sword steadily, right? You know, ordinary iron swords are very heavy, and it's a bit difficult for girls to wield them. How could such a palm be able to practice the sword art to perfection? Too evil. Zhao Yu felt Zhao Hemin's horror even more. Well, something unpleasant just happened yesterday. Are you guys going out to play today? Zhao Yu still remembered that it was these three troublemakers yesterday who gave the dandy boy of the Zhao family a chance. If it weren't for the three of them, why would Zhao Yu's brother Zhao Ning have tried to save the beauty, but ended up getting injured instead? Zhao Hemin smiled and said, could it be that just because yesterday was unhappy, we should deprive ourselves of a happy life today? We rarely played together before, but today is a rare opportunity. Sister Zhao Yu, can't you please give me a favor? Zhao Hemin held Zhao Yu's hand tightly, as if she would not let her go unless she agreed. Zhao Mai did not resist Zhao Yu, although she did not understand why Zhao Hemin insisted on getting Sister Zhao Yu to join. She did not say anything. Zhao Xuner understood that Liu Zai of the Zhao family had been killed by her last night, and the Zhao family would definitely not come to cause trouble today. They were still busy dealing with the internal affairs of the Zhao family. Yesterday, I also want to thank Sister Zhao Yu for notifying Brother Zhao Yan and clan leader Zhao Zan. Otherwise something big would have happened. Zhao Yu looked at the beautiful Zhao Xuner and felt a little embarrassed. In fact, Zhao Yu had never understood why a golden branch and jade leaf like Zhao Xuner had to be with Zhao Yan. Now that Zhao Yan has become a genius again, Zhao Yu realized that Zhao Xuner's vision is really powerful. Not leaving when Zhao Yan was down and out, nor showing off when Zhao Yan was glorious. This is the real heroine. However, what embarrassed Zhao Yu was that she herself couldn't figure out why she didn't teach Galio of the Galio family a lesson at that time, but went to find Zhao Yan. Zhao Yu didn't understand that she was controlled by Zhao Hemin's advanced magic at that time. If Zhao Hemin didn't explain, Zhao Yu would never understand it in her life. In this world, there is still advanced magic that can control people's brains and thoughts. Zhao Hemin took Zhao Yu's hand and continued, Sister Zhao Yu often practices sword, and her palms are rough. If Sister Zhao Yu goes out with us today, I will tell you the secret of how to maintain your palms. Make your hands as delicate and smooth as mine. This time Zhao Yu didn't need to be controlled by Zhao Hemin's magic. She was already moved. There is no girl who doesn't love beauty. Zhao Yu's face and body skin are very smooth, but her palms are often practiced with swords, which is inevitable. If Zhao Hemin really has a secret medicine to solve it, then Zhao Yu can be more beautiful. Zhao Mai also spoke. Since Zhao Hemin and Zhao Xuner said so, why don't you come, Sister Zhao Yu? When it's time to practice, practice hard. When it's time to play, play happily. This will help you grow healthier. Zhao Mai clasped her hands behind her back, looked at Zhao Hemin admiringly and said, this is what Zhao Hemin taught me. In fact, this is true. In the year that she has been with Zhao Hemin, Zhao Mai's practice time has been shortened by almost 2/3, but her cultivation has improved faster than before. Chapter 538, Yev's Choice. Zhao Yu finally agreed to join the Zhao family beauty group formed by Zhao Hemin. Originally, there were 3 women in a show, but now there are 4 women, all the way from the Zhao family. Zhao Hemin, Zhao Xuner, Zhao Yu and Zhao Mai. It is hard not to attract the attention of passers-by. The onlookers also exclaimed, I have been born in the Zhao family for more than 10 years, but this is the first time I have seen such a scene. It is so pleasing to the eyes. At this moment, Zhao Yan's task today is to deliver pills to the Temur auction house. The last time he promised Yev 5 qi gathering powders, so that the Temur auction house would cut off the medicinal materials of the Zhao family. The Temur auction house has done it, and Jian naturally cannot break his promise. Today, Jian continues to disguise himself as a mysterious alchemist. In the original drama, Yif has already learned Jian's identity at this time. In the original drama, in order to strengthen the cooperation between the Temur auction house and the Zhao family, Yif also went to the Zhao family in person. It was at that time that the detective Sherlock Holmes possessed her and solved Jian's true identity. However, Yif did not do that here. I don't know what kind of considerations he had. Anyway, Yif didn't know that the alchemist in front of him wearing a mysterious cloak was Jian. At this moment, Yif still regarded Jian as a master. Seeing that Jian sent such a high-quality qi-gathering powder so quickly, she was also surprised. The preciousness of qi-gathering powder can be referred to the one that Yunlin Sec's young master Lin Yanran brought when she broke off the engagement. Here are 5. Yif accepted it without hesitation. For these 5 qi-gathering powders, Temur auction house also paid a lot. At least at such a critical time, it cut off the supply of medicinal materials for the Jiali family, which was considered to be completely offending the Jiali family, considering that its head Jiali is a ruthless character. If it is not handled properly, it will be a big threat for the Jiali family to retaliate in the future. So, take advantage of his illness to kill him. The world is so cruel. Not everyone can be so lucky to be with Hermione and enjoy the romantic life every day. You've told Jian an insider information, which is why the Jiali family is not panicking. The herbal medicine family in Telin City secretly cooperated with the Jiali family, and tomorrow, on a road that few people go, they will deliver this batch of herbal medicines. Jian pinched his fingers, guessing the real intention of Yif's words. There is no doubt that the purpose of Yif's doing this is to hope that this mysterious alchemist who helped the Zhao family will completely cut off all the escape routes of the Jiali family and make the Jiali family fall from grace and never turn over again. So cruel. However, Jian understood that he must not be soft-hearted at this time. If he did not take ruthless action now, they would definitely not let the Zhao family go after the Jiali family was rectified. I understand. Thank you Yif for telling me. Seeing that Jian was about to leave, Yif stood up and smiled. There, we are in the same boat after all. Jian looked at Yif a few more times. After all, this woman was too beautiful. Jian left to discuss the next plan with his teacher Yao Lao. Yif was not idle either. She was dressed gorgeously at this moment, standing on a high attic. As far as the eye can see, the business on both sides of the market below can be clearly seen. Undoubtedly, few people go to the Jiali family's medicine shop. Even though the price has been reduced, the effect of its rejuvenation powder is not as good as the blood coagulation powder of the Zhao family. I am afraid that the dispute between the two families will soon have an end. The Temur auction house also plays an extremely important role in this. Yif took a sip of fine wine, as if she had a feeling of waking up and holding the power of the world. The small city of Wuden is also undercurrent. As the saying goes, where there are people, there are rivers and lakes. No one can escape from this vortex. However, just as Yif was sighing about the spring and autumn period, a surprisingly beautiful scenery appeared in front of her on the street. The people of the Qi continent are tough, and most women who have the ability to protect themselves dare to wander on the street. However, it is still rare to see a row of 4 beauties with different styles walking on the street. They are all beautiful girls from the Zhao family. Yif was also somewhat interested. Although she didn't know much about the girls from the Zhao family before, she also knew that if a girl is beautiful, she is always more arrogant because there are too many flies around her. Even Mai is the center of attention. However, the 4 top beauties of the Zhao family are like sisters at this moment, close to each other. Yif is knowledgeable and her eyes are very wise. Although Zhao Xuner is more attractive among the 4, in fact, the center of the 4 is the exotic Hermione. Yif had some impression of this woman. Just after the last auction, she came to Yif to ask for some medicinal materials. Yif saw that she was beautiful and extraordinary, so she agreed to her request. After that, there was no contact, but it hasn't been long since then. It's almost noon now, and you can see that the 4 beautiful girls of the Zhao family are preparing to find a hotel for dinner. Yif thought, why not meet them? Beauty is also attractive to beauty. not to mention that they are 4 top-notch beauties. Rich boys want to get to know them, so Yif arranged for someone to go down and inform Zhao Hemin, Zhao Xuner and others. Zhao Yu followed Zhao Hemin and the other 3, and was a little uncomfortable at first. But girls' nature is to like shopping. Zhao Hemin, Zhao Xuner and Zhao Mai are already familiar with each other, and it is not easy for 3 to lead one. Gradually, Zhao Yu also let down her guard. She found that when Zhao Hemin didn't use her terrifying swordsmanship, she was also so approachable. The feeling of being together was also very wonderful, making people feel the joy of life. In this world, too many people live for survival, and every day is miserable and like a year. And some people, like Zhao Hemin, enjoy life after work, so that life can become colorful. Of course, enjoying life is easy to say, but it requires strong strength as a backing, and it is not something that can be done casually. When the people sent by Yif came to see them, Zhao Hemin didn't expect it. She seemed to sense something and looked up. On the high attic, the graceful Yif was there. Yif did not expect that Zhao Hemin could notice her at such a distance. This woman was not simple. Zhao Hemin's ability was far beyond Yif's imagination. Well, since it is Yif of Temur Auction House who wants to treat us, we can't let her lose face. Let's go up together. Zhao Hemin held Zhao Yu's hand, mainly because Zhao Yu accompanied her shopping for the first time today, and she was afraid that she would be nervous. Zhao Mai asked Zhao Xuner curiously, "Yif, why did she invite us to dinner?" Zhao Xuner knew some of the situation and said, "It may be that Temur Auction House and the Zhao family have cooperated a lot recently, and it happened that the 4 of us were shopping together today, which attracted too much attention. Yif saw it, so she decided to treat us to dinner on a whim." Zhao Xuner's guess was almost right. Although she did not notice Yif on the high attic, Zhao Xuner was still very capable in analyzing the situation. Zhao Mai nodded. Now, the 5 beauties of Wooten City have all gathered together. In the original drama, this kind of thing never happened. Yif did not set up a banquet in other places, but on the high attic, all of which were signature dishes of the big hotel. Yif poured the wine herself, because she knew that the 4 beauties of the Zhao family in front of her had already passed the adulthood ceremony and could drink a few glasses. Chapter 539. Zhao Herman sang the new Drunken Concubine and read opera. It was also the first time that Zhao Mai watched Yif so closely. She had watched from a distance several times before. After all, a mature beauty like Yif was generally at the same level as the head of the Zhao family. As expected, she was charming. Not only was she charming, but she also had means and wisdom. Yif was such an outstanding strong woman. Zhao Mai was obsessed with watching her and was a little impolite. Zhao Xuner pulled her and Zhao Mai started to eat awkwardly. Zhao Yu was a little nervous and kept rubbing her palms under the table. She was a female swordsman who was not particular about details. But today, when they were shopping, Hermione applied ointment to her palms, and the calluses caused by her long-term sword practice actually disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. The skin on her palms also began to become smooth and tender. This made Zhao Yu very uncomfortable. She even doubted whether she could still hold a long sword tightly in battle with her hands like this. At this moment, sitting at the same table with Yif, being stared at by Yif's wise eyes, she was also quite uneasy. Zhao Yu was not good at socializing and was very impulsive. Some of her irrational behaviors in the original drama could show her character, so she was naturally very uncomfortable sitting down to eat with a big shot like Yif who was in charge of the overall situation. Zhao Xuner was very calm. She and Yif were both intelligent women of the same level. At the same time, Zhao Xuner's status and ability were higher than Yif's. But Zhao Xuner was young and kept a low profile at the moment. Zhao Hemin was not polite and sat down to talk with Yif at this moment. They talked about everything, but they didn't talk about the important things between the Temur Auction House and the Zhao family. After all, it was fate that they happened to sit down and eat together today, so they didn't talk about business. Yif didn't need to talk about business with Zhao Hemin and others. Yif also ate and drank happily. The 4 beautiful girls of the Zhao family each had their own characteristics, and she was also very happy to talk with Hemin. This beautiful girl knew everything and could talk about any topic. Halfway through the meal, Zhao Herman's system began to get restless, and a dialogue box popped up directly. Option 1. With such beautiful scenery and beautiful women, why not sing a song? Task requirements. Just sing a few lines and let everyone applaud to complete the task. Completion of the task rewards basic attributes +1. Option 2. Singing is not as exciting as dancing. It requires taking out the subwoofer, playing the most exciting DJ songs, and performing a street dance on the spot. Completion of the task rewards exclusive attributes. Disco, +1. Option 3. Drinking with friends is not enough. It requires drinking a lot on the spot, and getting Yi-Fi, Daoxuner, Daoyu, and Yi-Fi drunk collectively. Completion of the task rewards exclusive attributes. Drinking, +1. Speechless. This was originally a fresh and natural meeting, and it would be enough for everyone to eat, drink, and chat casually, but the system option task is so exciting that it is unbearable to watch. However, there is no need to waste too many brain cells for these three options. You can know which one to choose with your eyes closed. Option 3. When you meet a bosom friend, you can drink 1,000 cups. This sounds good. Not only does being drunk harm your health, the key is that Hermione is a girl. Is it necessary for her to get Yi-Fi, Daoxuner, Daoyu and my drunk at the same time? Option 2. Dancing again. If it was the kind of dance that the imperial concubine danced when she was drunk, it would be fine, but it had to be disco and street dance. If Hermione jumped out in front of all the beauties at this moment, she would be socially dead. I guess even Mai would look at Hermione with a strange look for several days. No doubt. Hermione suddenly put down her wine glass and smiled at everyone. In this situation, can I sing a little folk song from my hometown? Daoxuner and Yi-Fi were stunned. Daoyu didn't know what kind of trick Hermione was doing, and Mai, the little fangirl, clapped her hands and cheered. Great, welcome, welcome. In Mai's view, Hermione can do everything, especially the food from her hometown, which is so delicious that people can cry and never get tired of eating it. Now that Hermione wanted to sing for the first time, Mai was naturally very interested. Daoxuner also reacted and looked at Hermione with expectation. You've said elegantly, Hermione has such talent. Then come on, I'm all ears. Hermione thought about it, and decided to sing Nocturne or 7 Miles of Fragrance, or Jiangnan or The Flowers Are Too Fragrant, or a song in ancient style. Kai Ling is good, but it doesn't seem to be suitable for the current scene. In an instant, many songs emerged in Hermione's mind. Hermione even thought that Grave Robbers Chronicles, 10 Years in the Human World was not bad. It was a bit difficult to choose, so forget it, just hum a few lines. In the end, Hermione's soft body began to pose like a drunk concubine. The new drunk and concubine love and hate are just a moment. Raise a cup to the moon and love is like the sky. Love and hate are both boundless. Ask you when will you fall in love. Hermione is well-rounded, whether it is temperament or voice, they are all top-notch. At this moment, she seems to sing a few words casually, but her voice is beautiful and pleasant, not inferior to the original singer at all. Even Hermione's temperament as a beautiful woman is more like a concubine. The small talent show directly shocked Daoxuner, Daoyu and Mai who were present. Congratulations on completing the task. Reward basic attributes +1. Until the task was completed, the beauties at the dinner table still looked at Hermione with a surprised expression, especially Daoyu. Her eyes widened. She was the only person present who had seen Hermione perform 2 swordsmanships, Bagua sword and drawing swordsmanship. I thought Hermione was a hidden swordsmanship master, but I never thought that she was actually a famous role. Great. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Mai clapped her hands crazily. At that moment, she was so mesmerized that she almost forgot everything else. Great. Daoxuner also clapped her hands. Although she didn't say much, she was still very shocked. She always knew that Hermione was a wonderful woman, but she didn't expect that she could sing a folk song from her hometown so beautifully. It's wonderful. Hermione, your voice is better than the most famous actor in the capital. Yif also stood up in admiration, and her appreciation for Hermione deepened. Although Hermione has always been low-key, it feels good to pretend a little in front of all the beauties at this moment. It's okay, don't praise me so much. Everyone continue to eat. Hermione was about to sit down. She just sang a little song not to show off, but mainly for the system option task. Could it be that instead of singing, she chose to dance on the spot? However, Mai, the little fangirl, was so excited. She had known Zhao Hemin for a year in the Zhao family, but it was the first time she heard Zhao Hemin sing. Although she only sang one paragraph, it was so beautiful and unforgettable. "Zhao Hemin, you sing so beautifully. Please finish the song just now," I begged. Zhao Hemin quickly refused. She was not a salesperson. Besides, she only knew that one paragraph and forgot the other lyrics. Zhao Xuner was also reluctant to let Zhao Hemin sing another song. Zhao Yu did not speak, but there was eagerness in her eyes. Yif also toasted a glass of wine, and advised Zhao Hemin not to hide such a good talent. Zhao Hemin was unmoved. But when the system option task popped up again, looking at the rewards for the new option task, Zhao Hemin could only stand up reluctantly and said with a wry smile, "I'm not a salesperson. Just one song and I'll sing another verse. Please don't force me to sing again." So, Zhao Hemin built up his emotions and continued to sing a verse. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 540 Yen's Attack. Hermione Zhao is so beautiful when she performs her talent show. When she was in Hogwarts, Hermione Granger was a star in the Muggle world. She has experience. She became a star in the Muggle world because of the difficult system task. Otherwise, how could such a low-key person like Hermione Granger go out and be a star? It is the same today. Although there are three options: either be a silly girl, be a funny girl, or show your talent. Normal people know how to choose. Hermione Zhao is a lady. If she is a silly girl or a funny girl, she will naturally choose those funny options. Unfortunately, she is not. If she can be a lady, she will not be a fool. For the first song, since there is the new drunken concubine, there is no need to have so many requirements for the second song. Although Hermione can also sing some English songs, such as Faded, My Heart Will Go On, Yesterday Once More and Nothing's Gonna Change My Love For You. However, in the world of the Key Continent, Zhao Hemin felt that there was no need for her to be clever and sing some English songs that none of them could understand. Therefore, Zhao Hemin chose a song she liked more, Kai Ling, and this time to satisfy Zhao Mai, she sang from the beginning. If Zhao Hemin's beautiful posture just now was the drunk concubine, then, at this moment, Zhao Hemin is an actor with ancient style and charm and the gracefulness. The actor here is not a derogatory word, but a commentatory word. The play is a turn, the sleeves rise and fall, singing sorrow and joy, singing separation and reunion. It has nothing to do with my fan opening and closing, the gongs and drums sound and then silent. The love in the play is outside the play. Who can say? As Zhao Hemin sang with passion and emotion, Ye Fi, Zhao Yu, Zhao Xuner and Zhao Mai at the table were stunned at the same time. They all stared at Zhao Hemin, who was simply a queen of change. They didn't understand that Zhao Hemin had such an outstanding talent under her beautiful face. The performance of ordinary people may seem restrained, or they may not have enough talent and make up for it with embarrassment. However, Zhao Hemin's talent show was too professional. There was nothing wrong with her every frown and smile, every opening and closing. The audience and listeners were perfectly drawn into her singing. In troubled times, I can't bear to watch the flames of war burning the mountains and rivers. I dare not forget my worries for the country, even if no one knows me. People in the audience walked by, and the old colors were gone. The people on the stage sang a heartbreaking farewell song. It's hard to write love words. She had to sing with blood. The curtain rose and fell. Who is the guest? As Zhao Hemin performed emotionally, Zhao Hemin's aura as a god spread out unconsciously. All the phenomena of heaven and earth cooperated. The wind rolled and the clouds surged, and thousands of birds flew. The whole Wutan city seemed to regard this as the center. Fortunately, Ye Fi, Zhao Xuner, Zhao Yu and Zhao Mai were all obsessed with Zhao Hemin's singing. At this moment, they forgot to think and forgot to pay attention to the strange phenomena in the outside world. After the song was finished, Zhao Hemin received a system reward. At the same time, she woke up first and noticed the strange scene outside. The high-level magic aura in her body was diffused, and thousands of birds quickly left. The white clouds also spread out, and the wind also calmed down. The natural world returned to its normal state again. The applause first rang out from the white and tender palms of Yif and Zhugzunner. It was not clear who applauded first, but at this moment they were all shocked. Great, it's simply great. It was not until the applause woke up Yu and Zhao that they woke up with some confusion. Poor them. They were born in the Qi continent all their lives. The cruel survival made them practice and try every way to become stronger every day. There was no place to experience this kind of music culture crystallization. Even so, it was Hermione singing a cappella. If she played the background music with high-quality speakers, it was unknown to what extent these country bumpkins would be shocked. However, Hermione was just completing the task, and there was no need to do that. Hermione, you are amazing. Just amazing. Maya was so excited that she was like a crazy fan. She threw herself into Hermione's arms and got close to her idol. It's so beautiful. Hermione, the ballads from your hometown are so beautiful. Can you teach me? I want to sing. Maya was so excited that she didn't know what to say. Hermione smiled and said, sure, when I have free time in the future. Hermione didn't refuse. If she could spread the excellent songs from another world to this world, it shouldn't have a big impact. After all, Hermione wasn't running a music school. He just taught Zhao Mai to hum a few lines. Zhugzunner and Hermione were also familiar with each other. They had played together for more than a year. She also leaned over and sniffed the fragrance of Hermione with her small nose. Zhugzunner was a little intoxicated and said, I want to learn too. Hermione smiled at Zhugzunner and Zhao Mai, hugging them on both sides, and said, no problem. Although Zhao Yu was shocked just now, she did not travel with Hermione for too long. She was still obsessed with martial arts in her heart. She wanted to learn Hermione's swordsmanship, but she was embarrassed to speak. Yif coughed twice, and seeing that everyone was looking at her, she said, it's really worth inviting you all to get together today. Hearing such a beautiful ballad is also an unforgettable moment in life. Come on, come on. I toast you. Hermione. Yif respected Hermione very much. Hermione was certainly not a real actor, but the heroic and charming temperament on her made Yif sigh that this extraordinary woman was extraordinary. The four top beauties in Yuden City gathered together at this moment, talking and laughing, feeling very comfortable. Although it was the first time that Yif met everyone, she became very familiar with everyone because of Hermione's talent show. Even Yu let go of her mood and drank a few more cups. Her face was rosy and she looked a little cute. No matter how good the banquet is, it will still end. Hermione took Yu, Mai and Zhugzunner to say goodbye to Yif and left. Yif was a little reluctant, but she was also a person who did big things, so she didn't try to keep her too much. Guni, an appraiser at the Tamar auction house, had a lot of contact with Yif because of work. He looked at Yif's unsatisfied look and smiled. I have known Miss Yif for so long, but this is the first time I see Miss Yif so happy. Yif's figure, which makes every man excited, leaned on the red railing, and the wind blew gently, and her 3,000 strands of troubles flew with the wind. Yeah, I haven't been so happy for a long time. That Hermione is such an interesting person. Yif is an adult after all. She turned around and resumed her usual vigor and decisiveness and said, let's get to work. It's cool to enjoy the romance and the revenge, but how many people can do it like Hermione? Envy. After a rest, it's time to work. After all, Yif needs to work continuously and achieve impressive results to prove herself and to control her own destiny as much as possible in this cruel world. Compared with Hermione singing in the company of beauties, Yen's side is much harder. After obtaining the information provided by Yif, he immediately took action. The attacking Yen. He wants to be like a sharp steel knife, and give the Jiali family a fatal blow. According to the inquiries of Yen and Yaolao, the information is accurate. The medicinal materials shipped from Telan City are crucial, and can be said to be the last hope of the Jiali family, because when the Jiali family and the Zhao family compete viciously, they are burning money every day. The money they had worked so hard to earn was also swindled away by Hermione, a famous doctor. Now even the medicinal materials shipped from Terran City were bought on credit. If Yen really destroyed the goods this time, then for the Jiali family, it would be the last straw that broke the camel's back. Chapter 541, Cruel Yen and Yao Lao. The Jiali family was in a mess at the moment. As the patriarch, Jilibi sent Jilianu, a 3-star master in the family, to escort this batch of extremely important medicinal materials. If he knew that even this batch of medicine was targeted by Jian, a guy who was more vicious than the villain, I wonder if he, as the patriarch, would be even more uneasy. It can only be said that as the patriarch of the Jili family, Jilibi still underestimated the ability of the third young master of the Zhao family to use external plug-ins. Indeed, if there was no Gai Jian, the Jili family would most likely be able to erode the Zhao family's industry, and thus Yuten City would be the only one in power. But with this guy using external plug-ins, everything will not go according to the routine. Jian, this guy, in order to avoid any accidents, he even ate dry food on the way. Just when Hermione was singing at the banquet hosted by Yif, the wind was whistling, and Jian was sitting on a huge rock. "Here I come." Jian jumped up, and his black robe fluttered in the wind. However, the ruthless Jian would never have thought that Hermione would use the time converter in the future to quickly come here for the system task. Hermione, who had drunk a little wine, even had a little drunkenness on her beautiful face. She looked at Jian and jumped off the road. She sat where Jian had just been, took out the sobering tea and drank it slowly. Faster than the original drama, Jian, dressed in a black robe, casually shot out a bone spirit cold fire. The purpose was very simple. Jian wanted to kill people. The 3-star master Jia Linu was also unable to resist and was killed directly, and his body was burned into powder. The other disciples of the Jia Lai family were all shocked. In their impression, the 3-star master was a master among masters in Yuten City, but this mysterious man in black robe could be so domineering. After a few encounters, Jia Linu was killed, and even his body was not left behind. After Jian killed people, he immediately began to destroy the medicine. Several carts of herbs were filled with the fragrance of medicine in the firelight. It's a pity that the disputes among humans caused the batch of herbs to disappear. Jian seemed to sense something, and he immediately turned around to look. At the same time, Hermione, who was watching the battle on the cliff, disappeared immediately. "What's wrong, teacher?" Jian was a little confused about Yao Lao's reaction. In fact, it was Yao Lao who just took action, not Zhao Yan. Although Jian and Jia Lai knew of the Jia Lai family had no grudges in the past and no hatred in the present. However, since they are hostile forces, even if there is no right or wrong, whoever is ruthless and ruthless can stand firm in their bloody rivers and lakes. Yao Lao told Jian through his thoughts, "I just noticed someone was watching us." Yao Lao would not be wrong, but, with a turn of his head, the spectator Hermione disappeared. Jia Linu was killed and the herbs were destroyed. Jian asked, "Teacher, what should these remaining people do?" Yao Lao was not a kind person. He said, "It depends on what you plan." Jian was silent for a while and said, "If we keep them, we will definitely be exposed." "Why not? We should cut the grass and root it out." Killing one person is killing, but it is better to kill them all. At this moment, Jian was more brutal than the villain. Yao Lao said happily, "In this case, the rest will be done by you. It is just a good opportunity to practice your killing skills." Yao Lao did not object to Jian's brutal idea. In the Qi continent where the weak are the prey of the strong, one cannot stand firm without being ruthless. Since I have decided to start my journey in the martial arts world, if I am too soft-hearted, I will only be killed, and I will never become a strong man. "Ah, don't kill us!" Screams came one after another. The strong members of the Jili family who were escorting the medicinal materials were killed by Yao Lao, and the remaining little ones were killed by Jian. Jian, with his hands stained with blood, looked at the corpses on the ground. At this moment, he seemed to have grown up a lot. Yao Lao was responsible for collecting the corpses. He set a big fire and burned all the corpses. With a wind attribute fighting skill, not even the ashes were left at the scene. Killing people and destroying corpses, this master and disciple are extremely cruel. Although Hermione successfully completed her mission of watching the battle, she felt a little emotional. In her impression, Jian in the original drama did not seem to be so cruel. He did kill Jiao Yinyu together with Yao Lao. The main reason was that Jian wanted to destroy the medicine, and Jiao Yinyu, as a 3-star master, would naturally stop him. He had to kill. But in the original drama, after Jian killed Jia Yinyu, he successfully destroyed the medicinal materials of Jia Li's family. Jian did not seem to kill the remaining little ants. On this side, Jian did not let any of them go. Even the passing ants were not spared, and they were directly burned to ashes without a single bit left. Hermione analyzed that Jian here did not have Zhao Xun'er's constant nourishment. The single hard training for more than a year made him more like a martial arts fanatic with no woman in his heart. And breaking the ban with martial arts was more outstanding in Jian here. No, because of my appearance, Jian here will gradually grow into a cold-blooded and ruthless big devil. Hermione's mind was flowing. She was not surprised that Jian killed people. There would naturally be casualties when the two sides fought. However, even Luoyuo was killed without a single one left. This was Jian's first large-scale killing. This kid. Hermione was too lazy to care about it. In any world, there were too many bloody things. She couldn't take care of it. However, Jian still underestimated the importance of the Jiali family to this batch of herbs. Jia Yinyu was indeed responsible for transporting the herbs, but there was another team behind to provide support. If a battle broke out in front, the team behind could quickly come to help. However, the people in the team behind would never dream that the one who took action this time was Yao Lao, who possessed the strange fire. The battle ended too quickly. When the team behind arrived, both the people and the herbs were gone. When Jia Libi of the Jiali family learned that the herbs and the people had disappeared strangely, he was so angry that he vomited 3 liters of blood. The Jiali family began to decline. Yu Zai, a first-class alchemist, died. Jia Yinyu, as an elder of a 3-star grade fighting master, disappeared with the herbs. No one was seen alive, and no one was seen dead. The dozen or so disciples of the Jiali family who accompanied him also disappeared. Only the top forces in Mutant City knew this news, and ordinary people were not aware of it. Even for ordinary people, the Jiali family was still a giant in their minds. But they didn't know that the collapse of the Jiali family, one of the 3 major families, was just a matter of a moment. The assets were insolvent, and the herbal merchants in Terran City came to ask for it. The rejuvenation powder in the medicine shop was also sold out. It was over, and it collapsed completely. The only way to survive was to sell off the property. At this time, the ordinary people in Mutant City just woke up and found that the Jiali family had gone bankrupt. One by one, the properties that originally belonged to the Jiali family now belonged to the Zhao family. It seemed that the Zhao family was the only one in Mutant City today. Yif was also surprised when she learned the news at the Tamar auction house. The news that the Jiali family bought the herbs from Terran City was revealed to the mysterious alchemist by her. But what Yif didn't guess was that the other party's means were so cruel that no one in the entire medicine transport team could come back alive. No one was seen alive, and no one was seen dead. Even the location of the crime scene could not be found. In the entire Mutant City, perhaps Zhao Hemin was the only eyewitness. Of course, Zhao Hemin would definitely not help the Jiali family. Not only would she not help, but she would even do something that only a woman would do. In the original drama, the Jiali family collapsed, and there was no follow-up explanation. Jian did not seem to intend to care about the Jiali family anymore. Chapter 542, Imperfect Savior. Hermione, as a martial arts fanatic, Jian now only wants to become stronger and stronger. Just like most men in the real world, who only want to make money, what can make a man become a superior person is what men pursue passionately. The intrigues with the Jiali family are not what Jian pursues. Only the absolutely strong can control the life and death of the weak at will. Therefore, when the Jiali family collapsed and could no longer compete with the Zhao family, Jian no longer cared about the Jiali family. It is impossible for Jian to put on a black robe at this time, and slaughter the entire Jiali family with Yao Lao overnight, and then burn it to ashes with a big fire. That would be too cruel. After all, Jian is not a big devil now. Outside, killing the team delivering medicine is to avoid exposing himself. If those little rascals are alive, then Yao Lao's bone spirit cold fire will be exposed. Although the Jiali family still can't deal with it, such a strong trump card will be known to the enemy. For a secret, Killing more than a dozen people is also excusable. However, now that the Jiley family has gone bankrupt, it has completely become a second-rate family and has no ability to compete with the Zhao family, which is now in its heyday. If Yan wants to wipe out the entire family at this time, what will the other small families in Mutant City think? Will the entire Mutant City, except the Zhao family, tremble in fear? So the cruel and bloody things are going on behind the scenes. On the surface, everyone is still in harmony. As long as they don't completely enter the chaotic world, most things will still be done according to the rules. If they enter the chaotic world, there will be no rules at all. The country will be destroyed and the family will be ruined. It is normal to be born in a chaotic world and to wipe out a family. Even massacres, killing innocent people in an entire city, blood flowing into rivers, and corpses piled up like mountains are nothing in a chaotic world. Mutant City is naturally not a chaotic world. There are competitions between families, and they are ruthless in private, but on the surface, everyone will definitely not wipe out the family at will. Therefore, it is reasonable that Yan did not take action against the Jiley family again in the original drama. And Zhao Herman did not forget that Galio, who was Galio's son. Zhao Herman cursed him because he and Liu Zai were in collusion and harmed decent women. As a girl, Zhao Herman naturally could not tolerate such things. Even though the Galio family has become a second-rate force now, it is still easy for Galio, a beast, to harm powerless civilian women. In order to make him incapable, Zhao Herman came to the Galio family and released a curse on Galio again. Galio, the head of the Galio family, was originally upset. It is human nature that monkeys scatter when the tree falls. The Galio family collapsed, and all the forces that once flattered them all dispersed. There are not many people left in the huge Galio family now. It's like a company went bankrupt, and except for the doorman, it has been completely deserted. Although there is no evidence, Galio is not stupid. He guessed that the death of Liu Zai, the death of Galio, and the destruction of the herbs must be related to the Zhao family. But now the Zhao family is in the heyday of Mutant City, and Jiley doesn't have the courage to go to the Zhao family with the dragon-slaying sword. After all, if you want to become a big devil, you must have that strength. Even the 3-star master Jai Linyu was killed and his ashes could not be found. Jiley is not much stronger. Maybe he will become a pile of ashes before he arrives at the Zhao family. If he stays dormant at this time, maybe he will have a chance to rise in the future. If he angrily fights the Zhao family to the death at this time, he will really be wiped out and there will be no chance of a comeback. The chief of the Jiley clan still knows what is important. However, he didn't expect that when the Jiley family's ancestral business was destroyed in his hands, his son Jilio, a playboy, would fall ill again. The screams of Jilio came from the house. This scumbag's life is over. Damn it, God wants to destroy my Jiley family. Jiley cried in the heavy rain, because Jiley would never think that his son Jilio was just cursed by the witch. In fact, Jilio was not sick at all. God is never fair. Bad people do bad things without retribution. Hermione is the savior of the world. While saving the world, she will punish those who don't like her. After all, Hermione is not a perfect savior. Apart from system tasks, she only cares about what she wants to care about. For example, when Yan killed more than a dozen little rascals, Hermione turned a blind eye and didn't want to care. So, Hermione just wanted to do what she wanted to do. She didn't want to be restricted by rules and regulations. Yan didn't know what Hermione did. Similarly, Xun'er, Mai and Yu didn't know that tonight, in their minds, Hermione still had the charming scene of her hometown ballads performed emotionally during the day. But at night, Hermione had already gone to punish evil and promote good. After Yan killed someone for the first time, his mind grew a lot. He was not afraid. After all, this was the key continent. There were no laws to restrict it. In the fantasy world, murder and arson were extremely normal things. If you don't kill people, others will come to kill you. It's that simple. Yan didn't have much psychological burden, because Hermione had kidnapped his Xun'er. Yan had more time to practice. He would not waste time thinking back to the battle during the day. He would continue to practice by taking the pills provided by Yao Lao tonight. With the teacher's all-round guidance, Yan's practice speed was very fast. Unknowingly, Diane successfully broke through again. There was no option to sign in and punch in the task. Hermione was too lazy to watch Diane practice, so she went to bed. Before going to bed, she opened the system and looked at her various information attributes, thinking in her heart, she had been in the Key Continent for more than a year. According to the timeline of Hogwarts, she had graduated from the first grade and would soon enter the second grade. However, she had been in the Key Continent for such a long time. What does the system mean? Are you going to let Hermione continue to do tasks in Key Continent? As expected, the story of Battle Through the Heavens is very long, and the small city of Wynn has just ended. Hermione didn't think much about it because she couldn't think of the answer. What surprised her was that tonight, her little fangirl Hermione couldn't sleep. As long as she closed her eyes, her mind was filled with Hermione dancing and singing at the AFI wine table. So charming. As a girl, how could Hermione be so outstanding? In the depths of Hermione's heart, there was no longer the figure of Diane, only Hermione. She didn't know that Diane went to kill people during the day, and Diane broke through in the evening, and Hermione didn't care. She knew that the Gilly family was about to collapse, and the Gilly family was no longer a threat, which was enough. The rest was to take time to practice and become stronger, and then have a romantic time with Hermione. Hermione was not stupid. She knew that Hermione liked Alexander more, and she also knew that sometimes when they had fun, they would sleep together. As a little fangirl, Hermione never had this opportunity. She really looked like a maid, unworthy of sleeping in the same room with her master. But Hermione was also very beautiful. In the Gilly family, she had even more suitors than Alexander. Unwilling to accept this, and on top of that, Hermione's dancing and singing today were too charming. Suffering from insomnia, Hermione finally ate a bite of spicy noodles and mustered up the courage to go find Hermione. Chapter 543 Canaan College Enrollment. Although Hermione is a foodie, she doesn't like spicy strips very much. Even after more than a year, she is still not used to the taste. But tonight, she needs to muster up her courage. Recalling the most interesting plot of her first time with Hermione, Hermione tricked her into eating spicy strips and domineeringly covered her mouth to prevent her from spitting it out. At that time, Hermione really hated this bad woman, but as time passed, she found that Hermione was very capable. She had a strong personality, and she was very charming. Every time she was inadvertent, her charming ability made people obsessed, and being with Hermione seemed to make people forget their troubles. This is the most critical reason why most women like to find powerful men. It's not just because beautiful women love heroes. You have to see the essence through things. The essence is that every woman longs for a peaceful and protected day. Following an incompetent man, she will definitely suffer from the beatings of society and must roll up her sleeves to fight against a bad life. No one is born strong. There are not many women who are willing to be a strong woman willingly. Besides, most of them don't have that ability. Following Hermione, although I don't feel how powerful she is, however, being with Hermione every day, everything around me seems to have changed, and there are not so many troubles. Even if I eat, drink and have fun every day, my cultivation will improve, and there are not too many annoying things. It's as if Hermione is the sky, and with her around, even the devil will retreat. This kind of subtle feeling can only be felt after staying with Hermione for a long time. Of course, Hermione's feeling is not absolute. For example, when she was at Hogwarts, her ability was not that strong, so even though Ron's sister Ginny played with Hermione Granger, when she encountered a disaster, Hermione at that time only dared to take action in secret. On the surface, Ginny Weasley did not feel as real as Hermione at this moment when she was around Hermione. This is actually the difference between the ex-girlfriend and the current girlfriend. It is said that the order of precedence is very important, and this is absolutely true. Hermione is like a successful person. When she was struggling hard, the girls around her naturally did not get the maximum care. But now Hermione has everything, even if she didn't take care of Hermione on purpose. But because Hermione's ability is too strong, just following Hermione can make everyone happy. Therefore, there is no such thing as fairness in the world. The treatment of Hermione and Ginny Weasley is also very different. Of course, if Hermione returns to Hogwarts now, then Ginny Weasley will not be hurt so much under Zhao Mai's protection. This is also the reason why Yan practices so desperately to become stronger, because he also wants to be someone like Hermione. Not only can he protect himself, he can also easily decide the life and death of others. Hermione looked at the poor little Zhao Mai standing at her door with some surprise. This little girl has grown up and looks very beautiful. Her pair of charming eyes are also shy, and her proud body is twisted, but in fact it is controlled. Hermione really fell for her tricks, otherwise she would kick her out. She didn't sleep in the middle of the night, looking for death. It's so late. Zhao Mai, what's the matter with you? Tell me the truth. You just want me to teach you to sing, right? Hermione knew everything in her heart, but she used more advanced reasons to help Zhao Mai find excuses. Zhao Mai's eyes lit up immediately, seeing that Hermione did not dislike her. She hugged Hermione and nodded. Yeah, it's too late today, let's teach you tomorrow. Zhao Mai's eyes began to dim. But I can't sleep. Hermione hugged Zhao Mai and smiled. Shall I coax you to sleep? Hermione could clearly feel Zhao Mai's heartbeat accelerating at this moment, but she still pretended to be calm and said, then I'll trouble you. Hermione saw through it but didn't say anything. Just like that, Zhao Mai lay beside Hermione, like a little fox, and soon fell asleep. It was indeed Hermione who coaxed her to sleep. Hermione only cast a little sleep magic, and Zhao Mai fell into a deep sleep. A few days later, the head of the Zhao clan was full of joy. The Zhao family received help from a master in the dark, and the current competitor, the Zhao family, was completely defeated. Zhao is very busy now. He has to use various means to erode the industries that originally belonged to the Zhao family. The market in Mutant City is so big, since it is impossible to open up new markets. The more industries they occupy, the more money they will make. Although the head of the Zhao clan does not have great ability, he is a good person. At least he will not be as rich and unkind as the Zhao family, so Hermione did not care about him. Zhao is not an important NPC. The system does not trigger too many option tasks on him, and Hermione is too lazy to pay attention to him. As for Yan, he is going to get busy. For the fallen heart flame mentioned by Yao Lao, Canaan College must go. Canaan College is very remarkable. It is a bit like Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in the Key Continent. However, the admission standards of Canaan College are different from those of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. In Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, most students with magical attributes are selected by the college, and then the admission notice is delivered by owls. Canaan College is different. It is located in the Black Horn region of the Key Continent, which is very chaotic and belongs to no man's land. If you want to become a student of its college, you must sign up for an exam. Every year, Canaan College sends many teachers to recruit students from all over the world of the Key Continent. Even Mutant City is no exception. It must be said that Canaan College is not sloppy at all in order to meet the enrollment indicators. Today, there are crowds of people in the enrollment square of Canaan College. The news of the bankruptcy of the Gailey family is not a big news in Mutant City now. Because human joys and sorrows are not connected, most people are only interested in new things. As for others' miserable lives, what does it have to do with him? As long as I am not miserable, it's fine. Canaan College is very famous, even more so than the most famous Yunlin sect in the Jiama Empire. There are countless aspiring young people in Mutant City, who doesn't want to be selected into Canaan College. Just like in the real world, most students who study well want to enter famous schools. It doesn't mean that entering a famous school will definitely lead to success, but at least, the chances are much greater than not entering a famous school. At least, after graduation, it is easy to find a job. Yan's purpose is different from others. He and Yao Lao have impure purposes. Others enter Canaan College to learn and become stronger. Yan and Yao Lao want to be thieves, go to the college to find clues about the fallen heart flame, and steal this strange fire ranked 14th on the strange fire list. Hermione knew Yan's purpose very well, but she didn't expose him. On this day, the handsome men and beautiful women of the Zhao family walked together and came to the crowded Canaan College enrollment site. Chapter 544, The Crazy Villain. When there are too many people, queuing is inevitable. At a glance, the number of people in the queue can be described as exaggerated. Fortunately, Zhaoyu's role is perfectly reflected at this time. She is seen taking the lead, just because she is a student of Canaan College. The main person in charge of recruiting students in Mutant City this time, Teacher Ruolin, is Zhaoyu's teacher, and there is also a young and beautiful woman named Zuni. Diane, Herman, Xunner, and Zhao Mai fell behind. From the intimate attitude between Zhaoyu and Zuni, it can be seen that they have a good relationship, and Zhaoyu used this relationship to seek convenience for Xunner, Herman and others. They did not queue up honestly, but chose to go through the back door. Having connections is the kingly way. The ugliness of human nature is reflected here. Seeing others cutting in line, the anger in the heart is enough to reach the extreme. But if on the contrary, it is oneself who uses connections to seek convenience for oneself, the mentality of taking advantage is enough to make people feel smug. It has nothing to do with the rules. This is the ugly human nature in the bones of most people. Herman was also a beneficiary of the relationship at this moment, so naturally she would not say much. Even if Zhaoyu had not made a move, she would have made a move. After all, with her ability, it would be too easy for her to cut in line. Zhaoyu and the girl named Zuni made friends, and then a number of Canaan Academy female students came out of a tent, and most of them knew Zhaoyu. Herman had every reason to suspect that they took advantage of the Canaan Academy's enrollment to come to Mutant City for fun. Zhaoyu also introduced the two parties. When talking about Diane, everyone's eyes lit up. After all, Diane was very lucky. He was the only boy in the team. At the same time, Diane's physical fitness and temperament were not bad because he was trained as a martial arts fanatic. Zhaoyu said a lot of bad things about Diane to her good sisters in the academy. When everyone sympathized with Diane's third stage of fighting spirit, they found that Diane in front of them was completely different from the useless cousin. Zhaoyu said. Diane was also at a loss for words. He had not even entered Canaan College, but his reputation as a third-level G player had already spread under Zhaoyu's big mouth. Zhaoyu could only explain awkwardly that Diane had recovered now. Fortunately, Diane was already used to being talked about by outsiders, and he did not take it to heart. Zhaoyu's sisters, after paying attention to Diane, paid attention to the other three beautiful girls in the Zhao family, and were all amazed for a while. So beautiful. Zhaoyu, the genes of beauty in your Zhao family are really amazing, and each of them is as beautiful as a fairy. Xunner was generous and generous, Hermione was indifferent and low-key, and Zhao Mai was a little complacent. When there are happy times, there will naturally be villains coming up, and when people are depressed, the story of Spider-Gwen is completely believable, and there are countless contradictions. A senior named Rob came over with a gloomy face. This guy is infatuated. There were so many beauties in the Zhao family this time, but he didn't look at them much. Instead, he noticed Diane next to Zhaoyu. With his brain, he immediately identified this as his rival in love. Of course, the original drama gave a reasonable explanation. Here, Rob was very narrow-minded. He was jealous just by seeing Zhaoyu smiling and saying a few words to Diane, and he quickly hated Diane. Diane knew that beauty is a disaster. Because of Xunner, he had two more villain opponents, Ning and Galio. These two people had become enemies with Diane because of Xunner. Therefore, he thought that he was a martial arts fanatic now, and because all the beauties were attracted to Herman, he had no chance. However, he never expected that what was coming would not be avoided. Soon, the narrow-minded senior Rob found a reason to let Diane go outside to bask in the sun for half an hour. It was just because the admission test of Canaan College was very simple. It tested the strength on the crystal ball. If you passed, you could proceed to the next step, and those who could pass were undoubtedly gifted geniuses. In order to strike the pride of these geniuses, Canaan College had an unspoken rule that the freshmen who passed should be exposed to the sun outside for half an hour. Of course, if it was a drizzle, they would be exposed to the rain outside for half an hour. This unwritten rule is only used to punish those little geniuses who have no connections. The people brought by Zhaoyu are naturally not included. However, this Rob is narrow-minded and doesn't like Diane. He just said a few words and asked Diane to go out and bask in the sun. This will naturally cause Zhaoyu's strong dissatisfaction. Rob, What do you want to do? Rob saw Xiaoyu lose his temper with him because of Xiaoyan, and he was even more angry with his twisted heart. He used chicken feathers as a command and said, "This is the rule. The other delicate beauties in your Zhao family can be exempted from this assessment, but Xiaoyan, as a man, can be unable to handle this little difficulty." Xiaoyu in the original drama may have something to do with Xiaoyan, but Xiaoyu here definitely doesn't. If you have to say that there is someone she cares about, then it is Hermione, just like Hermione. However, Rob's behavior made her lose face. Xiaoyu whispered, "They are the people I brought. Don't make trouble for me." The more Xiaoyu spoke for Xiaoyan, the more jealous this guy with insufficient brains became. He was infatuated. There were so many beauties in Canaan College. Although Xiaoyu had a beautiful figure, she was not the only one. He had been pursuing Xiaoyu for a long time in the college, but she never gave him a good face. This made Rob, who was mentally abnormal, even more jealous. Xiaoyu, this is not a matter of face or not. This is a rule. Even if it is someone brought by Teacher Ruolin, you have to abide by the rules. At this time, Rob was able to act righteous, as if the rules were more important than heaven. In fact, only he knew how dirty he was in his heart. Xiaoyan was speechless. He was not stupid. As a boy, he could keenly feel that Rob, the villain, was targeting him. Moreover, Rob was obviously a stubborn person. There were many beautiful female seniors in Canaan College, but Rob did not pursue them. Moreover, the beautiful girls Hermione and Xiaoxuner who came from the Zhao family this time were both stunning, one level higher than Xiaoyu, but Rob still held on to Xiaoyu. It was obvious that this Luobu had developed an obsession with Xiaoyu. Obsession is a precursor to obsession, so it is completely understandable that such a person would be crazy and hostile to him. However, Xiaoyan felt very wronged. If it was because of Xiaoxuner, and the other party was jealous and targeted, then it would be fine. Xiaoyan and Xiaoxuner did have a special relationship. But, Xiaoyu, this is too inexplicable. Even in the original drama, the relationship between the two was very weak, not to mention this unprovoked disaster. Just when Xiaoyan was thinking about what to do, Xiaohamin suddenly ran over and whispered to Xiaoyan, "With your current ability, challenge that Luobu and beat him." A defeated general is not worthy of mentioning the rules. Xiaoyan looked at Xiaohamin's quirky big eyes and was a little stunned for a while. Is this method really feasible? Won't this further intensify the conflict? Or is this Xiaohamin just watching the show with the mentality of watching the world in chaos? After all, compared to seeing Xiaoyan go outside to bask in the sun for half an hour, it is certainly not as exciting as watching Xiaoyan fight with Rob, the petty villain. Chapter 545 Xiaoyan comes out to fight. Xiaoyan obviously underestimated Xiaohamin. It was exciting to watch the show, but she didn't say this to Xiaoyan for such a simple purpose. As long as you believe that Xiaohamin is such a low-key and trouble-free person, if she suddenly does something out of character, there is almost no doubt that she must be forced. Option tasks pop up anytime and anywhere. Sometimes they are very important options that can determine future changes and developments. And sometimes, they are just some insignificant small tasks. For example, now, either Xiaohamin chooses to take out a submachine gun and directly shoot Rob, the petty villain, or dance on the spot. There is no way, so she can only choose to let Xiaoyan make a choice that intensifies the conflict. Xiaohamin's voice was not small. Rob, the villain on the opposite side, heard it. He was a little surprised. How could this exotic little beauty meddle in other people's business? Could it be that she has a special relationship with Xiaoyan? Although Rob is not a scum like the playboys Galio and Liu Zai, as a man's nature, he likes beautiful women. Now Herman is better than Xiaoyu in all aspects, but since Jla and his ilk have decided to pursue Xiaoyu, they will not show their romantic nature on the surface. But seeing that Xiaoyan can have so many romantic encounters really makes Luobu, who is also a boy, feel even more uncomfortable. In fact, although Luobu has mental problems, his appearance and temperament are still online. As long as he does not oppose Xiaoyan and does not pursue Xiaoyu to death on a branch, he is still very popular among girls in Canaan College. It's a pity. Things like feelings cannot be forced. Xiaoyu obviously doesn't like Luobu. No matter how much the other party does, she doesn't like it. This Luobu is still unaware of it. He turned his infatuation into harassment. At the same time, he opposed the male protagonist Jian and turned into a little villain. The key is that the authorities are confused, and this Luobu is completely unaware of it. Only the bystander Hermione can analyze all this clearly and sharply. If she were a Luobu, she would have let go long ago. There should be some limits to infatuation. Too much is as bad as too little. Brother Tilda. However, Hermione did not sympathize with this Rob. He was just a guy with a mental illness. He pestered that woman, and that woman was unlucky. Yu was also unlucky, just being targeted by such a bastard. This Zhao family girl's words are very interesting, Rob said proudly. You let Jian, a freshman who registered, challenge me? You are probably too confident in him, right? Perhaps, in a small place like Hudon City, Jian is a genius among his peers. But do you know Canaan College? Every year, there are talented students from all over the world in the Key continent entering the school. What Canaan College lacks the least is genius. Although I, Rob, am not talented, I am not someone that a playboy from a small place like this can easily defeat. Playboy. In Rob's eyes, Jian actually became a playboy, but after a closer look and thinking, it is really possible. After all, the Zhao family used a back door this time. Yu, Hermione, Xun'er and Mai, 4 beautiful girls with different styles, and Jian was the only boy. Isn't this a rich young man who is surrounded by beautiful women and is a playboy? He is already envied by men of ordinary backgrounds. And this petty Rob has been pursuing Yu for a long time, but there has been no progress. Today, seeing Jian, he naturally has evil thoughts. Jian felt speechless. What Rob said might be true. Canaan College is indeed a place where crouching tigers and hidden dragons are hidden, but his Jian is not as bad as he said. At this time, Rob's younger brother Jla jumped out. Want to challenge the boss? You are just a freshman, don't be funny. Since you don't want to bask in the sun, then fight with me. We can talk about it after you can beat me. Jla is the villain Rob's fox friend dog, and he can also be regarded as a younger brother. Just watching the several beautiful freshmen from the Zhao family, he was naturally itchy. Men with vigor and blood are either martial arts fanatics who only want to practice and become stronger, or maybe he just likes beautiful women. It's the nature of men. But Jla's status is not as good as Rob, so naturally he has no chance to get close to high-quality beautiful women. At this moment, he saw the opportunity. He heard that Jian, the ignorant freshman, dared to challenge senior Rob, which was simply courting death. Xun'er has a light temperament and looks like an aristocratic girl. A small figure like Jla is naturally not worthy of her. Although Hermione is beautiful at the same level, for some reason, she has a special magnetic field that makes people subconsciously ignore her. Although she is stunning, she is not particularly eager. It is a wonderful feeling that can only be understood but not described. And the charming Mai is also beautiful, and her figure is extraordinary after more than a year of feeding by Hermione, which makes men drool when they see her. Her status is obviously much lower. Maybe if Jla stands out and performs better, he can win the beauty. After all, it is easy for seniors to pick up junior girls. In addition to suddenly showing up to help Rob, Jla also has his own little thoughts. Rob looked at Jla and laughed. Well, there are always some troublesome freshmen every year. Jla, you can fight with this Jian, but remember, don't hurt him. After saying this in a sarcastic tone, Rob turned to Jian and said in a senior manner, Jian, for Yu's sake, don't say that I bully you. As long as you can survive Jla's 20 moves, I will consider you as having passed the freshman sunbathing stage. How about it? Jian didn't hesitate, and strode forward and said, I couldn't ask for more. If you want to become stronger, you need to fight constantly. For Jian here, fighting may make people's adrenaline surge more than picking up girls. Seeing the situation turn into this result, Yu worriedly said, Jian, you should be careful. At the same time, looking at Rob, this idiot, he still wants to pursue me with this behavior? It's so annoying. Normal people, if they want to please their sweetheart, will definitely treat Yu's clansmen with courtesy, especially those brought by Yu himself, so they are naturally related. But this silly Rob, on the other hand, insisted on competing with Jian, who was a few years younger than him. He was so low class. No wonder he had been pursuing Zhao Yu for a long time in Canaan College, but Zhao Yu was indifferent. It was not that Zhao Yu's standards were too high, but this Rob was too rubbish. Zhao Yu, is your cousin Yan okay? Although that Zhao is not strong, he is also a one-star fighter. Zhao Yu's sisters were also a little worried. After all, seniors like to flirt with juniors. Seniors also like to flirt with juniors. Yan's appearance is still online. And there is also the relationship with Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu's good sisters are naturally worried about Zhao Yan. Zhao, that guy, has not started fighting yet. Because he stands on the same line with Rob, he not only did not show himself, but was unanimously disgusted by all the beauties. A lackey who can't stand up to the stage. Zhao Hemin pulled Zhao Xuner. This conflict was caused by Zhao Yu's psychopathic pursuer. Zhao Xuner didn't speak from beginning to end. However, Zhao Hemin comforted him. That person is no match for Yan. Don't worry. Zhao Xuner was not really worried. If it was Luobu who came down to fight Yan, Zhao Xuner might be a little worried. As for that Zhao, a one-star fighter, he really wasn't qualified. Zhao Mai beside her was eating popcorn. There were too many beauties here. She felt that she had no competitiveness, so she just watched the show honestly. Chapter 546. Crazy. There is no shortage of people watching the fun in any world, especially the fight between the troublesome freshmen and the seniors. Yan has a good foundation, while his opponent Go La is a little ugly. Although it is impolite to judge people by appearance, but this is the bad nature of human beings. Ask yourself, who doesn't like handsome and good-looking people? Even if you go to the supermarket to pick watermelons and apples, you will buy good-looking ones. Although Yan was labeled as a troublesome freshman by the seniors, there is no shortage of people whose values are determined by their appearance in any world. The girls who were watching not only did not think that Go La's intention to teach Yan, a freshman, a lesson was a just act. Instead, they all sympathized with Yan. That little brother is so handsome. The ugly guy on the other side must be a bad guy. The polarization is that most boys think Yan deserves to be beaten. Everyone envied the beautiful women around him, and Yan was more handsome than themselves. As freshmen, everyone went out to bask in the sun for half an hour to grind their arrogance. Only Yan insisted on challenging the seniors. He was simply a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. Sooner or later, a master would teach him how to behave. Sorry, it is often the weak who are beaten by society. The strong are not among them. The reason why Yan became a martial arts fanatic is that he was running wildly on the road to becoming the strong man. The efforts behind him were for this moment, so that he could live with dignity. He had enough of the 3 years of ridicule. He had no chance before, but now with the help of Yao Lao, Yan naturally doubled and worked several times harder. This guy Zhao obviously did not understand Yan and thought that Yan was just a spoiled young man with talent. The battle began. Come on, Yan, let me see your pride. Yan was not low-key either, since the duel had already begun. He was even more arrogant than in the original drama. How do you want to fall? The fastest fall? Or do you want to struggle? Yan has killed many people. Even the 3-star master Jiao Yinyu was killed by Yao Lao possessing his body. The opponent was only a 1-star fighter. Yan did not take him seriously at all. So arrogant. Zhao was also angry. I originally planned to let you fight a few moves in my hands, so as to save your face, but now it seems that it is not necessary. Zhao used his 7th level power and attacked Zhao Yan. Yan smiled coldly. Too slow. This Zhao was obviously an embroidered pillow. Although his moves and postures were beautiful, they were light and unstable. It seems that Yan, who has been instructed by Yao Lao, can be Zhao's teacher in martial arts theory. Yan did not even make a move. He slightly turned his body, stretched out a foot, and kicked the leg of the attacking Zhao. Zhao screamed. His body was unstable, and his whole body fell to the ground in a mess with the force he had just rushed over. The whole audience was silent instantly. The girls who were originally worried about Yan now had stars in their eyes. So handsome. Whose son is that? The boys were also shocked. This kid is quite something. The kick just now seemed casual, but it just showed that Yan's martial arts level was much higher than that of Zhao. In Yan's eyes, Jla's body was full of flaws. Damn it. Rob's eyes were cold. Jla was fighting on his behalf, but he just met him and he was so embarrassed. Brother Xian. Zhao Xunar clenched her fists with some excitement. It was this kind of handsome feeling. The genius Xian was like this back then. Looking around, there was no one as good as him. Good boy. You are good at pretending. Hermione was also a little surprised. If she remembered correctly, the battle between Xian and Jla in the original drama was not so cool. Although Xian also crushed the opponent in the original drama, it was a normal battle. But here, it has become Xian's stage for pretending. Hermione thought, it seems that because of her arrival, the butterfly effect has occurred. Xian has not only become more pretending than in the original drama, but he has also become more ruthless. I have to admit that Xian is more attractive. In the original drama, Xian, who flirted with girls everywhere, was really hard to accept. Boys should be upright and should be the best. Damn Xian. Jla got up from the ground. His chin was broken, blood was flowing, and his body was covered with mud. He was in a mess. You know, he is the senior. It's so embarrassing. And there were laughs all around. Since this damn kid made him lose face, then Jla will no longer hold back. The fighting skills he practiced in Windblade have a strong lethality that can cut bones. It should not be used in this kind of competition between students. But, Xian just went too far. He didn't give Jla any face at all, so Jla didn't plan to hold back. Today, he must make this damn guy bleed. Be careful. Seeing that the senior Jla didn't follow the ethics of martial arts, Yu became a little worried. Although she didn't have feelings for Xian like in the original drama, here, she, like Mai, liked the mysterious and talented Hermione more. However, the conflict between Xian and Rob was caused by her, and she couldn't bear to see Xian get hurt here. Rob began to be proud. It would be best if Gola directly killed Xian by mistake, so that no one could compete with him for Yu. This guy is really bad. Hermione couldn't bear it anymore. She hooked it casually, and a small magic entered Rob's clothes. Rob immediately frowned and thought, what's going on? Why do I feel like there are bugs in my clothes? Damn, I can't catch them at this time. Hermione looked at Rob's extremely uncomfortable look, and felt happy. The evil needs to be dealt with by the evil. Hermione is not an evil person, but as a god, it is also happy to punish him. In the field, Xian seemed to feel a little threat from Jla's Feng Wang blade. If he was hit, his bones might be broken. However, this Jla was not interested in martial arts. His foundation was too poor. Even though Feng Wang blade was powerful, he had too many flaws. If Yao Lao was his teacher, he would have been punished for so many low-level mistakes. This is the difference between having a good teacher and not having a good teacher. Of course, it could also be that Jla did not study hard at Canaan Academy and was half-hearted and did not learn solidly enough. Xian was too lazy to care about the reason why the other party had such a poor foundation. He was not Jla's teacher. At this moment, he just needed to defeat the other party. If it was Xian in the original drama, he might have pretended to fight with Jla for a few moves in order to keep a low profile. Xian here is a martial arts fanatic. He doesn't have the patience at all. The fighting spirit in his body condensed on his legs. To deal with such a bastard, there is no need for fighting skills. Boom. With the force of gravity, Gore's wind blade could not hit Xian at all. But Xian's kick, which contained fighting spirit, hit Gore's stomach directly. This time, Gore's eyeballs bulged out and his face turned blue. This kick made his stomach ache like a river and sea, and his whole body instantly lost its fighting power. Xian kicked him directly and sent him flying 3 or 4 meters away. The whole audience fell silent again, and Gore's whole body was bent like a shrimp in pain, and he completely lost the ability to fight. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 547. Xian's fantastic move. The wind swept the dust and sand. Xian won, and won so elegantly. Luobu's face turned blue with anger. The rules he talked about were to put pressure on the newcomers, but now the pressure came directly to him. It would be unreasonable not to go down and teach Yan a lesson. Yan, as a freshman, you are indeed capable, but you think that you can defeat Jla and ignore our seniors, then you are wrong. As Luobu walked, the fighting spirit in his body was emitting, which was indeed much stronger than that of Jla just now. Yan also began to take it seriously. With such a result, he would not be afraid of fighting. If he wanted to fight, he would fight. He would not be afraid. On the contrary, he needed more battles to improve his strength. However, the battle was finally stopped, and the admissions director of Canaan College, Teacher Ruolin, came. Just now, there was a commotion outside, but because the battle between Yan and Jla ended too quickly, when she rushed out, Luobu was ready to go down and attack Yan. Teacher Ruolin, Zuni, Dao Yu and other women immediately surrounded her. Dao Xuner, Dao Herman and other women of the Zhao family did not know each other yet, so they first observed Teacher Ruolin's appearance and temperament. As expected, she was another beauty. There was really no shortage of beauties in Pokangkian. They were exquisite and well-proportioned. Although they were not stunningly beautiful, they were enough to make countless adolescent boys excited. What's going on? Teacher Ruolin frowned and asked. After she understood, she looked at Yan with great concern. Forget it, Luobu, you go down and do your work. Luobu did not dare to resist and left. Although he felt very uncomfortable, he also understood that since Teacher Ruolin came out, he and Yan would definitely not fight. It was not a good thing for old students and new students to fight. Humphrey, Yan, you wait for me. Yan was too lazy to pay attention to this jumping clown. Just wait. Am I afraid of you? Yan was not a coward. Hemin did not expect that when Teacher Ruolin appeared. Hemin's system immediately popped up a window. Option 1. Go up and praise Teacher Ruolin. Praise her so much that she can't tell east from west, south from north, and complete the task to get an electric toothbrush as a reward. Option 2. Recommend female cosmetics to Teacher Ruolin and successfully let her use them, and complete the task to get a bottle of face cream as a reward. Option 3. We just met by chance, so there is no need for us to have too much communication. Complete the task to get a bottle of floral water as a reward. The rewards are all daily necessities, which are simple small tasks. Hemin chose the easiest one to do. She did not show herself, but Teacher Ruolin also mentioned Hemin. The new students who came to register today are all very beautiful. Please introduce yourselves. Teacher Ruolin looked at Xuner and Hemin. Then, Teacher Ruolin did not delay for long and talked about the second test for everyone. Potential value classification. Under 20 years old. 8-stage fighting spirit is F level. 9-stage fighting spirit is E level. 1-star fighter is D level. 2-star fighter is C level. A 3-star fighter is a B level fighter. A 4-star fighter is an A level fighter. A 5-star fighter is an S level fighter. After hearing this, everyone began to bring in their own levels. Only Zhao Hemin felt a little surprised. It was not because her grand fighter's cultivation was completely higher than the SSSS level, but she was curious that there was English in the world of Qi continent. Because Zhao Hemin's imagination was open, she often showed different thinking patterns. When the children of the Zhao family tested this potential value, they all showed good results. Yan was a 4-star fighter, A level. Xuner was even better, a 6-star fighter, exceeding S level. Hemin was a little more low-key and did not say her grand fighter's level. She concealed her strength and said she was a 5-star fighter. For the time being, she would be an S-level fighter. Mai followed Hemin, and naturally she could also benefit. Now she is a 2-star fighter, C level. Although she is definitely not as good as Xuner, Yan and others, it is already very good. In the original drama, Xuner helped Yan to make up for himself, saying that he had broken through to the Deuce level at the age of 11, and then fell to the 3rd stage of Ziki in 3 years, and then broke through to the current A level in just 1 year. Here, Xuner did not help Yan to make up for himself. Perhaps Xuner felt that Yan's battle with Jla just now was enough to prove his achievements, and there was no need to show off again. Being with Hemin, she has also become more low-key. Yan has caused a lot of trouble, and there is no need to be high profile. Just when everyone was about to leave happily, Diane started his tricks. He had just successfully registered, and in front of teacher Ruolin, he proposed that he would temporarily take a year off. Everyone was stunned. Hermione's system also detected something interesting, and immediately popped up a window. Option 1. Grab a handful of peppers and stuff them into Diane's mouth, asking him if it's spicy. The suspension you mentioned at this moment is so spicy. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, hot, +1. Option 2. Use advanced magic to control teacher Ruolin and let her agree to Diane's extra long leave. Completing the task will reward you with the exclusive attribute, rest, +1. Option 3. I don't care, it's not my problem anyway, just watch the show. Completing the task will reward you with basic attribute +1. Choose one of the three. The answer is obvious. Hermione not only didn't care, but also looked like she was watching the show. My situation was the same as Hermione. Although she was a little surprised, she didn't take any action. After all, how much did Diane's suspension of study have to do with her? Xunner was naturally anxious. Brother Diane, why do you want to drop out of school? Don't you think it's ridiculous for you to do this? First you came to register, and after being admitted, you dropped out of school for another year. It is estimated that in all the years since the establishment of Canaan College, there has never been such a coquettish person like you. Diane smiled and said, I naturally have my reasons. Xunner, you don't have to worry. Teacher Ruolin laughed angrily. Diane, do you think that our Canaan Academy is a place where you can do whatever you want? Seeing that teacher Ruolin was tough and there seemed to be no room for negotiation, Diane also felt that his behavior was a little inappropriate. Indeed, he wanted to gain experience first. According to teacher Yao, even if he found the location of the Canaan Academy's fallen heart flame, his current cultivation and preparations would not be able to devour the strange fire. A year of experience is necessary. The reason why he came here to register this time was mainly because everyone he knew in the Zhao family came, so he followed them. Since it doesn't work, I'll cancel the registration and register at Canaan Academy next year. Damn brat. Teacher Ruolin's face became even uglier. She is the admissions teacher of Wooten City this year. Diane and the female genius next to him will undoubtedly become her outstanding qualifications at work. After all, a Super S-level Xunner, an S-level Hermione, and this A-level Diane were all recruited by her to Canaan Academy. When Diane comes again next year, I don't know who will be responsible. Diane, what do you think of Canaan College? You can come and go as you please. Diane also smiled bitterly. This teacher Ruolin was too beautiful. Even though he knew she was very popular, she looked very beautiful, so Diane couldn't get angry. Then, teacher Ruolin, what do you want to do? Diane directly put the question to teacher Ruolin. Teacher Ruolin thought for a while and got the answer. Chapter 548, Teacher Ruolin's Anger. What an arrogant guy. Does he really think that he can do whatever he wants just because he has an A-level evaluation? Sure enough, boys are not worry-free guys. Now Herman and Xunner, who have higher potential values, are so well behaved. Since they met, they have not caused any unpleasant things. But this Thorn Diane, when they just met, he was fighting with the old student. The solution is very simple. Don't you want to take a year off? Teacher Ruolin sneered. Don't you like fighting very much? Then, I will help you. As long as you can pass 20 moves in my hands, I will let you take a year off. Otherwise, you will pack up your things and go to Canaan College to study. Don't even think about taking a day off. So cruel. Teacher Ruolin has the cultivation of a 5-star great fighter, which is much higher than Diane, a 4-star fighter. There is a huge gap in strength between the two. With ordinary means, there is only one choice of defeat. Fortunately, Diane still has Yao in his body. Diane must take a vacation, without spending a year preparing. He can't devour the fallen heart flame of Canaan College at all. Even though it seemed to outsiders that Diane was simply overestimating his own abilities, he had to bite his teeth and agree at this moment. Okay, I agree. Diane's firm agreement surprised teacher Ruolin. Diane, think about it carefully. If you stop being naughty now, I won't teach you a lesson. Diane replied, Teacher Ruolin, I must take a year's vacation. Asshole, Teacher Ruolin was really angry. This stubborn boy really thought that Teacher Ruolin was a paper tiger. It was even more exciting than Jian's battle with Gola just now. Jian's battle with Teacher Ruolin, who was a 5-star grade fighting master, was undoubtedly a fight between an egg and a rock. It was too overestimating his own abilities. The onlookers this time were all watching with the thought that Jian would definitely be beaten up. Just now, this Jian beat up an old student from Canaan College. This time, Teacher Ruolin would beat Jian's intestines out. Zhao Xun'er was very worried, and Zhao Yu also wanted to stop it. Only Zhao Hemin was calm and collected, and she pulled Zhao Xun'er and said with a smile, "Don't worry. Although Jian's current strength is completely inferior to that of Teacher Ruolin, it is still possible for him to withstand 20 moves." Zhao Xun'er was a little surprised. "Zhao Hemin, Teacher Ruolin is a great chi, and brother Jian," Zhao Hemin said directly. "Don't you still believe me?" Zhao Xun'er finally nodded. She could not believe brother Jian, but she had to believe Zhao Hemin. Zhao Yu, who was standing by, also heard the conversation between Zhao Hemin and Zhao Xun'er, and did not try to find Jian to ask him to give up. Zhao Mai had an expression of watching a show, and some expectations. As a little fangirl, she believed in Zhao Hemin very much. So Zhao Mai was very curious. What made Jian believe in him so much? What kind of strength did Jian have hidden? From being a waste of the Zhao family for 3 years to a 4 stars now, will Jian continue to create his own miracle? However, when Zhao Mai noticed Zhao Hemin's gorgeous profile and a breeze blowing her long hair, Zhao Mai also had some doubts. Last year, when Zhao Hemin was tested on the Magic Stone tablet, she was also at the 3rd stage of Qi. Now Hemin's cultivation is higher than Jian, and she is a 5-star Duzest level. But why is it that no one is too surprised, but instead they all stare at Zhao Yan? Is Zhao Hemin too low-key? The scorching sun is very dazzling. Although Teacher Ruolin is not very old, as a teacher in the admissions office of Canaan College, it is the first time for her to fight with a freshman in public. She herself finds it incredible. Some are too childish. There are many ways to teach a freshman a lesson, and at this moment, it is undoubtedly the choice to maximize the contradiction. Therefore, Teacher Ruolin softened her heart and said to Jian, "Jian, I will give you another chance to repent. If you admit your mistake now, I will not teach you a lesson." Jian also understood Teacher Ruolin's intentions. Unlike Rob, that guy is a psychopath who is jealous of what is going on between him and Jiu. Teacher Ruolin was different. She couldn't stand Jian's disobedience and excessive tricks. Therefore, Jian was not angry with Teacher Ruolin. If he were a teacher, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood when facing a student like him. "Teacher Ruolin, I'm ready. 20 moves, come on, I'm so angry." Teacher Ruolin was furious and stupid. This Jian was even more smelly and hard than the stone in the toilet. "Jian, you asked for it." Teacher Ruolin took the lead. She was very beautiful and had the cultivation of a 5-star great fighting master. When she made this move, the strong fighting spirit was diffused in the field. The people around subconsciously stepped back a few steps, fearing that they would be affected. At the same time, they were also amazed at the strength of Teacher Ruolin. Jian's face was also pale. The gap between a fighter and a great fighting master was still too big. If it weren't for the teacher, he would not have the courage to stand here. 8 extreme collapse. Just for the first move, Jian needed to use his ultimate move to barely compete. Boom. Teacher Ruolin did not use her full strength, because she was afraid that she would kill Jian if she used her full strength. But the power of this bomb was not something that a 4-star fighter could withstand. However, Jian actually did it, and the fighting skills he displayed were such that if Teacher Ruolin had not been careful, she would have been injured. "You are indeed quite good, no wonder you are so arrogant." Teacher Ruolin was not angry, but instead felt that she cherished his talent. To gain respect from others, you should never flatter or curry favor with others, but use your strength to let the other party know it. Jian did it. He was knocked back more than 2 meters by Teacher Ruolin's first move, but he did not fall down. Although his face was pale, his blood was surging in his body, and he felt very uncomfortable. He did not spit blood. "Teacher Ruolin, this is the first move," Jian said with a steady breath. The whole audience was silent. The onlookers who had originally laughed at Jian's attempt to stop a car with his arms were now somewhat impressed. This kid is a bit manly. Herman was also surprised. He was only blocking a move, but he had some inexplicable handsome charm. Is this a Sellers show? Yes, although the scene is similar, the effect is completely different because of the different roles. If it was Rob standing in the field at this moment, even if he could resist, his performance would definitely be a buyer's show. A seller's show is pleasing to the eye. A buyer's show is horrible. Therefore, the martial arts fanatic Yan is indeed more charming than ordinary people. Good. Very good. Teacher Ruolin suppressed her anger and began to increase the strength of her attack little by little. There are still 19 moves. She doesn't believe that she can't defeat this Yan. The second move is stronger than the first. This time Yan was knocked back more than 3 meters away, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. But Yan was not defeated, but the martial arts fanatic blood in his body was completely activated. His eyes were shining with fire, and his voice was excited and said, "Come again." Teacher Ruolin was shocked. This little thing, what kind of monster is he? Even though he was injured, his arrogance did not diminish. Instead, his enthusiasm for fighting became even higher. Could it be that this guy is a rare martial arts genius? Chapter 549 Zhao Xun'er's concern. Interest is always the best teacher. If a warrior is not willing to practice martial arts, then his achievements will not reach the top. On the contrary, at this moment, Yan's eyes are so eager to fight with the strong and become stronger. It is even enough to move Teacher Ruolin. Teacher Ruolin also became serious. The third move, the fourth move, the fifth move. Sure enough, although Yan was getting more and more injured, his increasingly excited fighting will was terrifyingly strong. As long as there is no woman in your heart, the moves will be natural. In the original drama, Yan could not be evaluated as a real martial arts fanatic because there were too many beautiful women around him who could be ambiguous. Yan here is different. Not to mention that Zhao Mai no longer has any feelings for Yan. Evalu has begun to focus on Zhao Haman. Zhao Xun'er spends most of her time with Haman. Yan has no chance. He has too much time and attention to practice and become stronger than Yan in the original drama. Gradually, the mentality of a warrior in his body has become stronger. Teacher Ruolin was unconsciously led astray by Yan's martial arts awareness, and when she woke up, she saw Yan, who was covered in blood, smiling and saying, "The 19th move. There is only one last move, Teacher Ruolin." Teacher Ruolin's face was solemn, and the people watching around did not dare to breathe at this moment, for fear that their heavy breathing would affect the wonderful duel in the field. This Yan is getting stronger and stronger. In the previous battle, this brat has grown up again. It's really a bit scary. Yan, I didn't use my full strength just now. This is the last move. I won't let you go again. Teacher Ruolin began to calm down. Just now, she was unconsciously led astray by Yan's martial arts mentality. Teacher Ruolin didn't use her full strength, and only thought about fighting with Yan. At this moment, she remembered that she was here to teach Yan a lesson, not to feed him moves to make him stronger. Come on. Yan understood that Teacher Ruolin was starting to get serious. Intermediate Zhuan level fighting skill, water modula. The air around them began to become tight, and a strong pressure permeated everyone. This is the fighting skill of Teacher Ruolin, and it cannot be resisted without the cultivation of a great fighting master. Even if Yan has a strong will as a warrior, he can't stop it at this moment. Teacher, it's your turn. Yan bitterly notified Yao Lao with his mind that he really couldn't resist this move. Yao Lao smiled. He diffused some of his power on Yan's body. Boom. Huge splashes of water and fighting spirit exploded in the field, and even some lucky spectators who were not good enough were directly knocked out. Too strong. This is the full force of the great fighting master. That Yan. Is he dead? Yu's classmates Zuni and other girls were a little worried at this moment. They couldn't resist the attack just now by Teacher Ruolin, let alone Yan, who only had the cultivation of a fighter. However, when the smoke cleared, the blood on Yan's body was washed away by the splashing water. His hair was wet, and so were his clothes. However, he stood there intact. Thank you, Teacher Ruolin. for using the last blow to wash me a bath. You, Teacher Ruolin was shocked, angry, and furious. Impossible. What secret method did you use to withstand the blow? This is unscientific. That blow, even an ordinary great fighting master could not withstand. If Yen had not used special means, it would be impossible to resist. Yen smiled and said, Teacher Ruolin, you also said that it is a secret method, so it naturally cannot be passed on to others. Damn, this stinky boy actually succeeded in pretending. Teacher Ruolin, I have resisted all 20 moves. You must keep your promise and let me take a year off. Teacher Ruolin gnashed her teeth in hatred, but finally nodded and said, okay, I'll let you take a year. After saying that, Teacher Ruolin felt embarrassed and turned away. The people watching the excitement around were reluctant to leave at this moment. The battle just now was really exciting. They wanted to find a big enemy to show off their swords and guns. Awesome. Now you admired sincerely. She originally thought that Zhao Hemin was the only mysterious and powerful person in the Zhao family, but she didn't expect that there was also Zhao Yan, being able to withstand the attack of a 5-star grand fighter. No matter what special method Zhao Yan used, it was not something that ordinary people could do. Zhao Mai also sighed. Although she was Zhao Hemin's little fan, Zhao Mai actually didn't know how strong Zhao Hemin was. Zhao Yan, a young generation of the Zhao family, had such fighting power. Zhao Mai suspected that even Zhao Xuner was not his opponent. Zhao Xuner also went to help Zhao Yan tidy up his clothes. Brother Zhao Yan, you are too strong. Zhao Yan smiled and said, not bad. Zhao Yan looked at Zhao Hemin. From beginning to end, Zhao Hemin did not show any shock, as if she had already expected this ending. Even Yao Lao said that he couldn't see through this Zhao Hemin. Although Zhao Yan had never really fought with Zhao Hemin, he knew that Zhao Hemin was the real hidden boss. However, as a fellow time traveler, Zhao Yan did not intend to expose her. Zhao Yan believed that as long as he kept working hard to become stronger, sooner or later, he would be able to catch up with Zhao Hemin. Zhao Hemin naturally came to congratulate Zhao Yan, and pretended to be curious about what Zhao Yan was going to do during his one-year vacation. Of course, Zhao Yan simply said that he was going out to gain experience. He was not very clear about the specific details, and it depended on how the teacher Yao Lao arranged it. After all, using the burning decision to devour the strange fire required Yao Lao's guidance. Zhao Hemin was just asking casually, pretending to be an ordinary beautiful girl. You can't show your super ability to know everything. The story was coming to an end, and everyone dispersed one after another. Although Zhao Yan's resistance to the 20 moves of Teacher Ruolin was enough for everyone to talk about, but after all, everyone had their own things to do. A dialogue box suddenly popped up in front of Zhao Herman. Option 1. Invite Teacher Ruolin to stay at the Zhao family for a few days. Living in a tent all the time during the recruitment work is not very good. If you don't sleep well, it will be bad for your skin. Complete the task and get a basic attribute +1 reward. Option 2, sleep shit. Burn all the tents of Canaan College with a fire, sleep on the floor. Complete the task and get a unique attribute, fire energy, +1 reward. Option 3, remain silent. Silence is golden. Complete the task and get a unique attribute, silence, +1 reward. This time, option 3 obviously fits Zhao Herman's character of being afraid of trouble, so the reward is a bit light. Option 2 fire energy. Maybe it will be helpful for playing with strange fire in the future, but the task requirements are too bad. It doesn't fit Zhao Herman's personality. So, let's choose one. If I remember correctly, it was Zhao Yan who invited them in the original play. Zhao Yan in the original play was very scheming. He asked Teacher Ruolin to his house, on the one hand, to make them live more comfortably. Secondly, it was to build momentum for the Zhao family. Did you see it? The famous Canaan College's recruitment teachers all live in our Zhao family. What does this prove? It proves that our Zhao family is awesome. However, Zhao Yan is only interested in becoming a martial artist, and doesn't have such petty thoughts. Then let Zhao Hemin do this. After she finishes, she can also get system rewards. Teacher Ruolin was in a melancholy mood and was about to enter the tent to start the rest of the work for the day. Because of the delay of that stinky Zhao Yan, if she couldn't finish it today, she would have to work overtime in the evening. She noticed someone following in. Oh, You are Hermione, the Zhao family's most talented and beautiful girl with S-level potential. In addition to Zhao Xun'er, although Hermione was very low-key, Teacher Ruolin still remembered her. Chapter 550 Jian leaves Yun City. Hermione was not surprised that Teacher Ruolin remembered her. She had never used high-level magic on her, so her S-level potential was worth remembering. After Hermione's words, Teacher Ruolin did not refuse, but agreed. Jian and Zhao Xun'er were still surprised when they learned about it, and did not understand why Hermione did this. However, they were both smart people and soon understood. They were impressed by Hermione's thoughtfulness. In the Zhao family, knowing Teacher Ruolin's identity, the head and elders of the Zhao family also paid great attention to her. A group of beautiful Canaan Academy students came to the Zhao family, which was also eye-catching. There was no conflict in a short period of time, and this news quickly spread throughout Yun City. Even Ye Fei of the Temur auction house was amazed at the wisdom of the Zhao family. Teacher Ruolin also heard the story of the legendary third young master of the Zhao family. She learned that the other party had been down and out for 3 years, and now, in more than a year, he has achieved his current cultivation. At the same time, she also learned about Jian's broken engagement. The next day, Teacher Ruolin ran into Jian at the Zhao family. Jian smiled and greeted. "Did Teacher Ruolin sleep well last night?" Teacher Ruolin said. "Jian, since you have successfully asked for leave from me, and I know the reason for your leave, are you planning to go for training?" Jian smiled bitterly. "Teacher Ruolin, you really care about my affairs?" Teacher Ruolin said naturally. "Your affairs are being spread throughout the Zhao family, and it's hard for me not to know even if I want to." Jian smiled awkwardly after hearing this. "To be honest, I plan to leave today." Jian didn't like parting, and at the same time he could act quickly. Just when Teacher Ruolin asked him about it, Jian didn't hide it. "In that case, I can only wish you all the best." This Jian is indeed a bit legendary, and he does things as he wants. Such blessings are enough to make him feel at ease. "Thank you." After leaving Teacher Ruolin, he went to the Temur auction house. Jian is a man of action. He couldn't bear to see Zhao Xun'er's reluctant eyes. Xun'er is so smart, she must be able to understand his leaving without saying goodbye. As for Hermione and Zhao Mai, Jian didn't think much. He and Hermione are both time travelers, and they will have their own legendary stories. But Jian never dreamed that he himself was a walking NPC to that strange woman Hermione, even if he thought he was acting alone. But in fact, Hermione also followed him invisibly most of the time. The person who witnessed the most of his legendary stories was Hermione. For example, now he is going to say goodbye to Yif of the Temur auction house, and Hermione is still sleeping in. Even though she is now a god-level figure, she still can't stop her love for sleeping in. But the system pop-up task appeared. "There is no way. Who let us still have the identity of a time traveler worker?" Because of habit, Hermione didn't have too many complaints. Simply pack up and use the door key to teleport to the Temur auction house instantly. In the small area of Yun City, Hermione left door keys in some must-go places, so that she could arrive instantly. Because of the existence of this space magic prop, Hermione arrived even earlier than Jian. In the Temur auction house, Jian was still in a mysterious black robe and talked with Yif about some cooperation matters. The cooperation between the two parties is not limited to auctioning medicines. In the vicious competition between the Zhao family and the Jiali family, the Temur auction house also stood on the side of the Zhao family. The Jiali family has now become a second-rate family in Yun City, and the contribution of the Temur auction house is not small. In the original drama, Jian directly pointed out his identity to Yif, and even the blood coagulation powder in the Zhao family's medicine shop was also refined by him. Although Yif in the original drama had some suspicions, she was still very surprised when she learned the truth. Jian, on the other hand, was more of a martial arts fanatic. His identity was not known to Yif, and he did not intend to reveal it today. He only said that he was the teacher of Jian, the third young master of the Zhao family, and that he would take Jian to travel around the world and let the Temur auction house take care of the Zhao family. This favor would definitely be returned when Jian returned. Yif said seriously, "Don't worry, old sir, Yif knows what to do." "Well, I won't stay any longer." Bowing, Diane left in a mysterious black robe. This departure was a complete departure from Mutant City, and no one knew when he would come back. In the original drama, Diane not only said goodbye to Yif, but also to his father, the patriarch Zon. Diane did not say goodbye here. He only left a letter to tell his father what he wanted to say. And then he set out on his adventure to become stronger without looking back. After Diane left, Hermione appeared in front of Yif. Yif was very surprised. When did you come? Yif had a deep memory of Hermione. When they drank together that day, Hermione's 2 songs from her hometown were still fresh in her memory. She wanted to send someone to tie Hermione up and let her continue to sing for her. I just came. I came today to discuss business with Yif. Hermione would not discuss business for no reason, because the system task required 4 choices. This time, there were 4 options, either to blow up the Temra auction house or to dance in front of Diane and Hermione, etc. Only doing business with Yif was the most reliable. Yif still had doubts in her heart. You came. Why didn't the servants notify you? Yif was very famous, and not everyone could meet her. But this Hermione was not notified by any servants, as if she appeared out of thin air. Hermione smiled and said, "This is not important. Let's start talking about business." Hermione told Yif some medicinal materials that were not easy to buy. Yif wanted to continue to pursue the matter, but after seeing Hermione's eyes, her brain seemed to become dull, as if all the details of what happened to Hermione were not worth pursuing too much. Hermione did not take advantage of Yif. When the Zhao family and the Jiley family were competing for business, she also cheated the Jiley family and made a lot of money. Those gold coins were used to pay for the medicinal materials for this business with the Temra auction house. There are also storage rings on the Dki continent. Although the quality is not as good as the space rings rewarded by the system, they can also be used. During her time in Mutant City, Hermione also collected some. Even if there were piles of medicinal materials, she had a place to store them. Moreover, she was cautious in doing things, and she also explored the warehouse of the Temra auction house. The medicinal materials she needed were all available at the Temra auction house, and the transaction between the 2 parties could be completed within an hour. After the transaction was completed, the system also prompted that the task was completed. When Hermione was about to leave, Yif suddenly called Hermione. "Well, why don't we have a small gathering? You can call your friends." Yif was frank. "I will never forget the song you sang last time. Let's get together again." Hermione, you can sing the folk songs from your hometown again. Spare me. Hermione is not a street singer, but Hermione still gave Yifi some face on the surface and said, "Beautiful things should be kept in the heart and wait for next time." As he said that, Hermione patted the back of Yifi's hand, as if the relationship between the two was very close. Hermione turned and left. Yifi seemed a little reluctant and chased after him. However, what surprised Yifi was that Hermione, who had just walked out of the door, disappeared directly in the corridor. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.